Hey, everybody, that's just a little snippet of the new intro song that I've been working on for Modern Day Debate. A little bit of improv going on there and some juicy notes and some bad ones there. But onwards with the debate tonight, Flat Earth versus Glow. We have Austin, Witsit Gets It, and we have Malachi. Malachi is going to open us up for tonight. So, Malachi, the floor is all yours.
Great, thank you. Got to say
Just a
first, I
little
always enjoy live
snippet of.
music, so thanks for that.
Oh, problem. Thank you.
Um, I think it sounded pretty good. You should probably record it with different equipment, just me, but it sounded great. So, okay, I'm just gonna start with a little intro, kind of an opening. I wrote it down, so pardon me for reading what I wrote, but whatever. Okay, so I'm not really here to like try to present some overwhelming evidence that the Earth is a sphere. But I'm going to go through a few pieces. Our planet's spherical nature has been thoroughly studied and observed and proven over time and again, by countless scientists, explorers, and even ordinary people. So let's explore a little bit of the evidence. First and foremost, let us consider the observations of our early explorers, Ferdinand Magellan. Him and his crew embarked on their famous circumnavigation voyage in the 16th century. They sailed westward, ultimately returning to their starting point. And this monumental achievement clearly demonstrates that the Earth is not flat, but a curved surface. If it were flat, Magellan and his crew would have fallen off. If you ever have the opportunity to travel long distances, whether it be across continents or vast bodies of water, you will notice an intriguing phenomenon that the disappearance of ships over the horizon. This is probably something that people have talked a lot about. As the ships sail away from the shore, it gradually disappears from the view. Only the mast really remains visible. Same thing happens if you're on a ship sailing away. I was in the Navy for a long time. I've seen this quite a few times. The occurrence is consistent with the curvature of the Earth, and if the Earth were flat, the entire ship would remain visible regardless of the distance. The gradual disappearance of ships is direct visual evidence that we live on a spherical planet. Another compelling piece of evidence comes from the study of gravity. Gravity, as we know, force attracts objects towards the center of the mass. It acts uniformly in all directions, creating a balanced distribution of mass on a sphere, which is why you weigh roughly the same absolutely everywhere on the planet. Although there are some slight variations if you go like into higher altitudes, but that actually tracks with how gravity has been modeled to operate. So, yeah, consistent nature of the Earth means you get gravity all over the place. Lunar eclipses is a clear indication that the Earth is a sphere. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth comes between the sun and the moon, casting its shadow on the moon's surface. The shadow is always round, regardless of the orientation of the moon or the position of the observer. The only explanation for this is a consistent round shadow. This consistent round shadow is that the Earth itself must be spherical. There's also photographic evidence, lots of stuff from space. You can see the curvature of the Earth. Curvature of other planets. It seems strange to say that the Earth is flat, but the other planets are not. Those images all coalesce to reveal a beautiful blue sphere with recognizable continents, oceans, and cloud formation. These visuals confirm what centuries of scientific exploration and observation have already proven: the Earth is a sphere. And that's kind of the end of what I wrote, although I changed a little bit because I don't want to be boring to myself. On a second note, rather than having like a strict, hard debate, I'm not really sure you're going to get that from me. What you're going to get is a launch of inquiry into the understanding of this perspective. I find it pretty intriguing, and I hope that this is a pretty relaxed and productive debate so that people can understand each other a little bit better. So, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Malachi. We'll kick it over to you, Austin, for your up to 10-minute opening. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. All right. I'm going to try to breeze through this presentation. I'm going to start my timer. All right. So, Flat Earth 101. So, let's cover some basics of debate that oftentimes get left out of this conversation. Falsification is independent of replacement. Example, you think you have biological parents, they actually adopted you, you find the evidence you were adopted. They don't become your real parents until you find out who your real parents are. You falsified that they're your biological parents until you find out who they really are. So falsification is independent of replacement. The burden of proof is on the one making the positive claim. And the shifting the burden of proof is the fallacy of putting the burden of proof on the person who denies or questions the assertion being made, which is very important in this discussion. For example, if you tell me that dinosaurs and rockets go to space and unicorns exist, and you say, I read it in a book, you're making a positive claim. You say, look, I have a picture of a unicorn. That doesn't mean that unicorns exist. Unicorn pictures in books don't prove anything. But if you make the positive claim, you have the burden of proof. Oftentimes, what happens is flat Earth is strawmanned with incredibly egregious and inept representations of the actual position. This is called a strawman fallacy. Why don't you fall off the edge of your space pizza? Attacking a misrepresentation of the other person's argument, which was alluded to in his opener. Another fallacy I hope to avoid is an ad hominem fallacy, attacking the person instead of the argument. Like flat earthers just don't understand basic science. Credentials fallacy pops up a lot, saying, well, your argument can be dismissed because the person asserting the argument doesn't have the proper credentials to make that argument. That's called a credentials fallacy. The appeal to majority, an example would be every 7 billion people believe the Earth's a ball, but you think you're right. It's an argument for an unproved conclusion based on the beliefs of a large group of people, which is fallacious. Appealing to the authority of whoever it is that makes the claim is also, of course, a fallacy. All scientists agree. Another one that we get a lot of is poisoning the well, using ad hominem attacks to preemptively discredit the opponent. This is obviously fallacious and inadmissible in intellectual forum. All flat earthers are science-denying religious conspiracy theorists, as an example. We also have the begging the question fallacy. One of the most popular fallacies in this discussion, hands down. Every single evidence I've ever been provided for the Earth being a sphere is something that begs the question that the Earth's a sphere. Every single one of them. 5-6 years into this, I've yet to be given one piece of empirical evidence that supports the globe Earth, void of fallacious reasoning. I honestly don't think it exists at this point. But here's an example. The globe model says the sun goes beneath the Earth, so sunsets prove the Earth's a globe. All right. So also shifting the burden of proof, which we covered earlier. Say you show me a picture like he alluded to of the Earth being a ball from space, and I say, pictures can be faked. I don't buy that. There are replicated clouds all over the place. It's supposed to be a live image every 10 minutes or less. It takes 40 minutes for them to give it to us. I don't believe it. And then you say, prove the images from space are not real. Prove they're fake. You're shifting the burden on the person denying or challenging the positive assertion that that's a picture from a vacuum of the Earth being a ball. Okay, to get into specific this argument, everyone was taught the Earth's a ball from a young age, just like these children here are being indoctrinated with a pseudoscientific globe. This is why everyone here that believes the Earth's a globe believes it. And if anyone's going to be honest, that is why people believe the Earth's a globe. That's why, of course, all flat earthers once believed the Earth was a globe. You were taught that. You were told to make a model of the solar system. Everyone assumes it. Everyone assumes scientists have done it for them. They believe stories like someone navigated and proved it, and they're afraid to go against the majority. They simply blindly believe what they were taught as a child. Therefore, that is the majority positive claim here, as we were all told the Earth is a ball from a young age. So what does the globe Earth claim? Makes three predominant claims. Number one is that it's a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, which of course has the burden of proof to substantiate that the Earth bends convexly at a rate consistent with that radius value. Claim number two is that the Earth is spinning over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator while revolving around the sun 66,600 miles per hour on an axial tilt of 66.6 degrees. This is a very specific positive claim. No one here has ever felt the Earth spinning, nor is there any empirical measurement for it. And the current model actually says, everything happens on the Earth as if it is at rest, to quote Einstein. So we need actual evidence of that claim. Claim number three, the Earth's in a vacuum of space. You would have to support the fact that that's even scientifically possible to have a gas pressure system sitting next to a vacuum. Just saying that's what it claims is the case isn't substantial. The heliocentric model has the burden of proof for these positive claims. And believe it or not, this is a cartoon. This actually is not real, which is pretty much all we ever get from space. Cartoons for adults. So wait, isn't saying the Earth is flat a positive claim? Of course it is. So it is a positive claim. And I know a lot of people are probably already freaking out in the chat, so I'm not reading it. He thinks he doesn't have to provide positive evidence for the flat earth. Now, despite me about to do this for the remaining 4 minutes, people will still say no evidence was provided for flat earth, but that is cognitive dissonance. So flat is the description of a surface. Flat is not a shape. We have the burden of proof to show that the surface of the earth is flat, specifically a topographical plane. Flat's a description. You can have a flat square, triangle, circle. Flat's not a shape. To say that you're saying the shape of the earth is flat really lacks specificity. And as insane as it is that I had to put that slide in there, I definitely did. Okay, so we have the burden of proof to show that the surface of the earth is flat, and this has been done. Let's check it out. Radio waves can be sent over 10,000 miles with no earth curvature obstruction. When this was first done, they said, oh, it bounced off the ionosphere. That's why it went past the curvature of the earth. They claim that nothing over 40 megahertz can go through the ionosphere. World record radio propagation shows that megahertz frequencies up to 106 megahertz can go over 2,700 miles. That should be blocked by the curvature of the earth around 200 miles. You can't study the ionosphere because it's too high of a frequency, debunks the globe. Shows that the surface has to be flat to propagate horizontally. Magnetic declination is required to correct for the inaccuracy of the symmetrical spherical assumption when navigating. The typo. As you can see in the south, it's not symmetrical to the north, which makes no sense on the sphere until you understand that the south is much bigger on the plane Earth, and they have to do this to account for the discrepancies, well documented by the world's governments as they initially explored in expeditions out south. All right. So here's some examples. They found themselves off 12 to 16 miles by observation every day. They were off 58 miles in 2 days. This is the United States exploring expedition, also off 20 miles in less than 18 hours. When they went south, it didn't work. That's actually evidence that the assumption of the sphere is incorrect. Here's a military document for ground weapon systems called propagation over electromagnetic fields, or of electromagnetic fields over a flat Earth. It, of course, assumes the Earth's a dielectric plane, shoots electromagnetic waves out horizontally to hit the target and attack the enemy. So this literally doesn't work unless you assume the waves are being propagated out horizontally on a plane. So, of course, when it comes to actually having to get the bad guy, the military knows they have to assume the Earth is flat. Same here for the computationally efficient algorithms for estimating the angle of arrival of helicopters. Can't even accurately land using acoustic rays unless you assume the Earth is flat. Same for the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model. People say they do this just to make the math simpler. Well, that's weird. If the Earth's a tilted, wobbling, spinning ball, why don't we just account for what it actually is? I thought that scientists knew all about the math, and that's what proves the globe. Another evidence for flat Earth is something called specular reflection. As you see here, you have a complete specular reflection from this mountain on this water. This water must be flat to do that. Any concavity or convexity to the surface of the water would have a distorted image. It's impossible to have a specular reflection on a body of water that has any convexity. So here's an example of just a little bit of disturbance in the water, showing you that, of course, you do not get a specular reflection unless the water's calm and flat. We see these all over the Earth, over huge stretches, miles and miles of water. Here's an example, or here's it being broken down for you. You have a diffuse reflection whenever the water is not calm and flat. In order to have the actual reflection bounce back up to the observer, it has to be flat. We have these over vast distances all over the Earth. Horizon's been seen over 10 times beyond the geometric limitations of the globe, requiring the radius value to be over 250,000 miles, a little different than 4,000. Observation 600 miles away, the mountain should be obstructed by 40 miles. So the entire globe model depends on the accuracy of the claimed radius value, everything, gravity, day and night, everything. The radius value has been falsified. Welcome to flat Earth. So there you go. There's the positive. This is not real. This is a cartoon, and it is okay. We all once thought it was real. So hopefully we can have a respectful conversation, leave out the fallacies, get to the evidence, and get to the bottom of it. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much there. Witsit gets it for your introduction, your introductory statement there. Just going to remind everybody in the live chat that we are going to be doing a Q&A at the end of this conversation here. So get your questions in the live chat. I can see a few of them already popping in there now, as we will be doing that Q&A at the end. So we're going to kick it into an open discussion between our two sides here. We'll kick it over to Malachi to open us up. Thank you, Malachi, for being here, and floor is all yours.
Okay. I
What's
mean,
going on?
yeah, not a lot. Kind of have a big thunderstorm rolling through. So if I lose power and internet, then you win. Um, yeah, so lots of interesting claims there. I guess the problem I'm really having with your slideshow is that um, it doesn't actually argue for a flat Earth. What you're doing is you're, and I see this a lot, so don't think this is unique, but like what you're doing is you're going through and you're looking at things that are like, huh, that's funny, and you are assuming that that's somehow evidence for your point of view. But that's the problem, is that it's not. So if you go through and you say, huh, that's an interesting little phenomenon that we're observing, and that really requires some more investigation, like that would be fine. But that's not what you're doing. You're going through and you're looking at phenomenon that is interesting. You brought up an army thing from magnetic waves traveling over flat Earth, and it's like they didn't say flat Earth. They meant like a large piece of flat ground, and it's like the I guess the main problem I'm having is like I didn't actually hear an argument for flat Earth. I heard, huh, there are interesting things going on. We should probably investigate that more. And I agree, we should investigate these things more and really figure them out.
Yeah. So, uh, those were specific pieces of evidence for a flat Earth, right? So, if I send out radio waves horizontally and they go 2,700 miles, but the curvature of a globe should block them at 200 miles. The fact that they go out horizontally 2,700 miles only works over a plane. That's specific physical empirical evidence that the surface that the radio waves propagated over is a plane and that there's no physical obstruction. That is
No,
specifically positive evidence of a flat Earth.
so no, it's not. That is evidence that there is something interesting going on there that requires further investigation. You haven't actually shown any sort of model of a flat Earth that would answer that question.
Yeah, just a flat Earth answers that question.
So you
Literally,
said no begging the question, and you seem to be doing that.
no, I'm not begging
Yeah,
the
you are.
question.
Yeah, you
No,
are. You're saying this works if we have a flat Earth, and we have a flat Earth, so it works. That's
no,
begging the question. You
no.
need to actually show like a comprehensive model along with a bunch of different pieces of evidence that show this flat Earth thing. I mean, looking into the flat Earth folks, I've realized that basically none of them have actually the same model. They all claim different things. Some people think it's we're on a disk that's traveling through space. Um, Upwards at like the rate of the rate of gravity, like the acceleration of gravity. Some
No
people
one
think that
thinks
it's
that.
like infinite going every. Well, I'm not saying you do. I'm saying that these are the sorts of arguments that I found while I was looking at this. No one in the flat Earth world joke seems to have like the same model and the same explanations for things. They all just sort of look at these sorts of issues and say this is an interesting phenomenon, and then they use it to try to build their own worldview. But that's not really how that works. You need to have a consistent large body of evidence that goes directly towards this flat Earth thing and cannot be described on a spherical Earth model.
Yeah. So you should apply the same standards to your position. This is what always happens. There's a blatant double standard here. But for one, we
Sure.
need to define a few things. Like when you say a flat Earth model, there is no such thing as an Earth model. There's no such thing as a globe model, right? We model different phenomena. So we have a geoid model. That's for sea level on a presupposed globe. We have a dynamo model. The geodynamo model explains the core, right? We have the geomagnetic model, which explains the magnetic field on the globe. So we model out different phenomena. So I can show you a frisbee, which you brought up east to west circumnavigation and said that that proved the surface of the earth was curved. And if it weren't, then they would fall off. Of course, I could give you a frisbee, put a magnet in the middle, use a compass, go around it, going east to west. You're going to come back in a circle to where you started around the center. That's a circumnavigation model for a flat earth. So
Are you
it's just
talking
a
about?
talking point.
I'm sorry. Are you talking about like Magellan and his famous voyage around the world?
Yeah, east to west circumnavigation
So
works perfectly fine on a flat earth.
how is that? How does that work?
So if you use a compass and it points to north, which is in the center, as you
They
begin to
didn't.
go east or west, you're going to update relative to
Mhm.
north in a giant circle around the center.
Yeah, they used compass plus star charts, and they mapped all the land that they were passing as they went. I mean, this isn't
Okay.
some trickery of using a compass.
This is like Flat Earth 101, bro. East-west circumnavigation works exactly the same on a flat Earth. The only one that would debunk flat Earth would be north to south circumnavigation around the entire ball. Because if you can do both east and west and north to south, that would prove it's a ball. And of course, north to south circumnavigation has never been done in the history of man. And it's illegal to even try to do that, which is pretty convenient. So
It also sounds incredibly useless. I mean, like I'm in North America, all of our satellites are in the southern sky, right? Why would you send a satellite to go north to south? That doesn't make any sense.
why would we send a satellite to look at the poles of the Earth?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm curious about some other stuff, right? Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on NASA?
I don't blindly believe government agencies that were founded by
Right.
Nazis.
Right. That's a huge claim that I hear a lot. So this is fascinating for me too, because it's like there's now we're introducing conspiratorial thinking, right? Now we're looking at like, oh, so this guy, you think you're talking about the scientist that was smuggled out of Germany. Forgot his name. Von
There's a
Braun.
lot of them, but von Braun was put in charge of space exploration.
Yeah. You probably also think that it was very interesting what they put on the gravestone of von Braun, right? That's that passage from the Bible. I mean, like this
It
is all
is
like, yeah,
hilarious.
no,
Yeah.
it's not that interesting when you read the passage of the Bible and you realize that we're using technology to basically go to the heavens. But like
If you can read
the sorts of
Hebrew,
things.
then it's interesting. If you change
Cool.
what the words mean, I guess it's not
No,
interesting.
I can't, and I doubt that this German scientist read Hebrew either. But
Right.
so I think this is interesting because it just shows like this is just highly conspiratorial thinking where you don't trust. I mean, what do you think the Illuminati are a big thing? Like, do you think that the
This
Freemasons
is called
started any
I
of
covered
this?
this in my presentation. This is called poisoning the well, right? So
I'm
what you're
asking you
trying to do,
questions. I'm
yeah,
asking you
and it's
questions, and if you don't want to answer them because it makes you
I
look
am.
kind of crazy, that's fine. Just
Nah,
tell me you don't want to answer them.
don't project so much, man. It's weird. So
I'm
like,
not. I'm not
uh,
projecting. I'm launching. Look, I'm trying to investigate your worldview because I'm trying to see how someone could get from like this really like simple and incredibly well-known fact about the Earth and start to degrade their own confidence in it and start to present these completely different
yeah,
models.
yeah. So
I mean,
I
like
know
you
way
look the
more.
photos,
I think we both
like, do you have
know,
a problem
but
with
I
NASA
know,
photos?
yeah, but you got to stop scattergunning.
There. Let's let
So
Austin
like,
in there. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
it's all good. But so for one, you asked me, what do I think about NASA? And I said, I don't blindly believe government agencies. You then proceeded to poison the well as if anyone that doesn't blindly believe what NASA says is just a crazy conspiracy theorist that probably believes in the Illuminati and a bunch of crazy things. That's a textbook
Yeah.
poisoning the well. But that's why I'm confused. Do you blindly believe federal government agencies? Do you not think that federal government agencies lie to us?
For the most part, no. I think that if you think that government agencies are lying to you in large, I think you don't understand the process of discovering what like true things are. You don't understand the scientific method.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the scientific method very well, and I would
So like,
happily show that you don't know what it is,
right.
but we got to stick on subjects
Okay.
here.
So like, look, I'm
Government
curious, like
lies.
sometimes,
Government
yeah,
lies.
and I think that there's some useful reasons for the government to lie to its population. I think that that's
Oh,
sometimes
what
fine.
like what? Like
So
starting a war, like the Vietnam War, where they lied to the American public, blew up their own ship, and said Vietnam attacked us to justify us going to war and murdering children. Was that a good one?
so
Or when they literally admitted to brainwashing the public with unsuspecting college students being part of MK Ultra? Or whenever they said they took over the government, or the government took over the mainstream media and Operation Mockingbird to brainwash the public, which one of those were good for the public?
I don't think those were very good for the public. No, I didn't say that they
Right.
were. And I said that sometimes it's fine, right? A lot of the times, I think the government does a fairly good job at doling out useful information. I mean, like a lot of the COVID stuff, that was pretty useful. You could go to
It was
the
absolutely terrible, egregious abuse of freedom. So what I want to
okay,
know though
yeah.
is like, you understand my position is not that everything the government says is a lie. Obviously, that's
But
not my
no,
position.
right. So you're choosing a very specific portion of the government that seems to just do a lot of really good and useful work, and you're somehow painting them as being like bad and lying and stuff like that because it doesn't match
No.
your model, because their science, their evidence doesn't match what you have already convince
You
yourself
you
of.
won't provide any science or evidence in this entire debate. You'll just keep saying the words, but I just don't trust government agencies blindly, which means that appealing to NASA is not sufficient evidence. And the reason I don't believe in NASA is I've actually caught them lying. So whenever astronauts disappear from frame on the ISS and their hands go through microphones, I don't believe it's impossible that they're showing me fake images. I've seen dozens of hours of fake footage from the ISS. So I don't believe in NASA, who use clone tools on their cloud images. So I don't need to believe in that. We should be able to easily verify it on the Earth. Why would I believe in a government agency I've caught lying multiple times? The truth is, you've probably never looked at the footage that they've messed up on using VR and harnesses, and you can see it. So why would I believe that? I don't, that's weird to me. Like, it's weird to believe in the government who admits their objective is to control what the public think for national security purposes. Oh,
All right.
that was the fastest flat smack ever, bro.
There. It looks like something happened there.
Maybe I'll come back.
He might have crashed out there. I know that he had some thunderstorms he was saying were happening where he's at. So we'll wait for Malachi to come back. This happened last night. Kyle had a issue and dropped out, but he was back within like 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So we'll just hang tight for a few and see what's going on. But
Come back.
in the meantime, Witsit, he gets to riff it. So
Oh, that's what's up. All right. I hate to do this because it's not here, but I typed down some of the stuff he said. So circumnavigation east to west, we covered that. I think everyone here knows, right? Like, if I have compass in the middle, then my compass is pointing north. I will go east to west around that, updating to the north as I go around. So that doesn't prove the Earth's a globe. Boats going over the curvature of the Earth. Well, you can easily bring the boats back. They disappear at different distances every day, different times of the day. You can use infrared and bring the bottom of the boat back. So that shows it's not some physical curvature that's at the same distance that boats disappear behind. So that's not actual evidence of the Earth being a ball either. Gravity's not even agreed upon at the highest levels of academia, nor is it defined, nor does it work on the cosmological scale. It's off by 96%, nor does it work on the quantum scale. It doesn't even entirely work on the local scale. So gravity's not even defined to this day. So that's definitely not evidence of the Earth being a ball. You mentioned drop rates in weight changing with altitude. Yeah, you're within an electromagnetic field. You have an electric current going down to the Earth. You have different mediums with different levels of density. That's different electrostatic induction. Many things play a role in that, and it barely changes and never matches the globe Earth's prediction. Curvature of other planets. So, of course, to say, why are the other planets round, assumes the Earth is a planet that's round, which is a backing the question. And one thing I've never got an answer to about that is, like, you realize that the flat Earth position is that the Earth is a stationary topographical plane, which means it's in the center of the entire universe. It's in the center of the cosmos. So if the Earth is in the center of everything, meaning that everything moves around it, it's special and unique. Why would it be like everything else that goes around it? I don't get it.
Let me make sure that everything's set up. 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry
Awesome.
about that. Like I said, I live a little off, a little rural. So storms come through and my power gets knocked out.
Well, that's an interesting topic. I guess we could launch into to kind of steer this back for both of you. Let's talk about the weather on our views there. So, how is the weather as far as you guys concerned? How does that work?
How does the weather work?
That's a great question. Yeah. So spherical Earth, you can go and look in a high school textbook and find out how the weather works. I'll just agree with that. But I am interested, and this is sort of the claims that I wanted to go through, was like, you need to have this massive body of evidence and not just like picking one or two small issues and saying this is like, it doesn't kill the whole thing, right? And
Does.
no, it doesn't, right? So if you find something that says, this is intriguing and I need to go and research it more, that doesn't destroy an entire like hundreds of years of a model that's been working really well.
It doesn't work.
I mean, dude, I was in the military. Ask people who shoot long distance, right?
I do. I know
Ask people
many
who
of them. They
shoot
know
more
the
than
Earth's
2 miles. They have to operate under the Coriolis effect
no,
all the damn time, right?
no,
Like,
they don't. Talk to the guy
okay,
who broke the world
so
record. Talk to
great.
the
It's
guy directly who broke the world record. So
on
that's just a
distance
lie.
shooting.
That's just yes.
On okay, what did they
Okay.
say about
He
the
don't
Coriolis
never
effect?
accounts for Coriolis ever.
No, it's because the little device that they use to plug the numbers in does it for them. When you know the distance, when you know the direction you're shooting, when you know the atmosphere, when you know the barometric pressure, the device will adjust for you. You just click your little dials and it'll dial it in for
He
you.
said that they never account for Coriolis.
That's because the
He said they
device does
account
it
for the.
for you.
Oh, so do they have to account for the wind, or does the device do it for them?
No, that is something you have to account for. But usually, you guys usually have like either a really good weather report or you look at signs in the surrounding environment, like dust plumes and trees moving, stuff like that.
Yeah. No one accounts for Coriolis, and if you say that it's built into the machine, that's a cool story. And even if there is Coriolis, it doesn't even
Yeah.
prove that the Earth is moving. It doesn't even prove that the Earth is moving. So in reality, what they do when they shoot a long distance, if they did account for Coriolis, it would basically not change anything. Wind is way more of a factor. So you have to account for that. If you miss your target to the right, it's because of wind. Nothing to do with Coriolis. Now you could say long distance artillery
Great.
shells or something, but same thing. They miss their targets all the time and then have to correct. And the primary factor is wind. And even if Coriolis was real, it doesn't prove the Earth is spinning, because if the entire sky is moving around the Earth, it would translate a force to the Earth. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you've looked into any of this yet.
Right. I'm still so curious, right? Because it's like, I mean, like, so I asked you about like things like NASA, right? This institution that's been doing some really cool stuff, right? We're able to talk right now because of satellites that are in space. Space program has started. There's space programs all over the world, right? China has one, the UN has one, I think South Korea has one, Russia has a space program. I mean, are they all doing a consistent lie all the time?
Yeah. Are they all signed
Okay.
to the Antarctic Treaty?
What does that matter?
So they clearly can cooperate together to conceal something from the public. They all agree to the Antarctic Treaty. So
Can you explain what the Antarctic Treaty is?
yeah, so the treaty's founded in 1959, coincidentally 1 year after NASA was founded, and directly after America went and explored Antarctica. Coincidentally, America went and they brought the Nazis over here in 45. 1946, Operation High Jump, they went and explored Antarctica. They did that for many years with Admiral Byrd, who said there's tons of land beyond the South Pole that no one knows about. Then, 1955, Operation Deep Freeze, the government went back there, founded Little America Base. In 57, they agree with a bunch of countries to shut down travel to the north and to the south. And then in 1958, founded NASA. In 59, founded Antarctic Treaty, which says that there is no private and free exploration allowed past the 60 south latitude, which is a circle drawn around you, roughly 500 to 1,000 miles from the edge of Antarctica, depending on where you are. And that's intact today, the longest lasting peace treaty in modern history. That's Russia, China, America, you name it. They all say that you and I can't privately and freely explore the one region that would prove the Earth's a sphere. So how convenient.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of words there, like coincidentally, one thing happened a year after another thing happened. It's like, yeah, that happens all the time, dude. Like that's the procession of time. One thing does happen a year after another thing happens. So I don't really understand why that's a point for you. And
They
then
went to
the other thing about the
Antarctica.
Antarctic Treaty, the other thing about the Antarctic Treaty was that you weren't allowed to put like major military installations there, which I think was a really good idea because you don't want to have boots on the ice, people running around making a mess of it. I mean, it's like a pristine area that's incredibly sensitive to like ecological disasters. I don't really see how this is like a big whoa to you. It's just like, yeah, there's pristine areas of the earth that we should probably try to protect from any major exploitation.
Like the Amazon rainforest.
again, I don't really see how that goes to your point about Antarctica. It's like, so my
Clearly
question
does.
was, my
Clearly
question
does.
was, so hold on. My question was originally, do you think that all of these institutions are lying? And you said yes, because, and you didn't say anything about the lies. You said yes, because they are able to hold a treaty that's protecting very delicate places of the earth. I don't really understand how that
No,
works for
I
you.
didn't say yes because it's
Okay,
all every
so
time I have
why
a
are those
debate, it's
connected to
always
you?
tactical misrepresentation. But what I
No,
said
that's fine.
was
I might have gotten it wrong.
in rebuttal to your question, which clearly implied that it's somehow impossible for all these countries to cooperate together. I said they're already cooperating together in something called the Antarctic Treaty, which is very specific to this discussion. The military went and explored Antarctica for a decade and came back and said no one's allowed to go there. Oh, but it's for the environment, but we can burn down millions and millions of square feet of the Amazon rainforest daily. But we care about the ice that has nothing there. No one can even just travel there. We can burn down the Amazon rainforest. That's why it's relevant. So do you not think it's
I mean,
weird that we can't freely explore the earth?
no,
We
I
have the
don't.
right to
There's a
do
lot
that?
of places you can't freely explore,
Name
right?
one.
If I own a tract of land in Northern California, you cannot freely explore it because I own it.
Who owns
How is
Antarctica?
that weird? How is that?
Who owns Antarctica?
Who owns Antarctica? It does.
Yeah,
This isn't a system of ownership that I'm talking about. I was giving you an
that's
example of
what you
someplace
just
you can't
said.
explore. I was
You
giving you
just
an
said
example
that.
of someplace you can't freely explore, right? You cannot come to my land and freely explore because I
Yeah,
own it.
because it's your
You want to talk?
land, you own it. So who owns Antarctica? It's 3,500 miles in diameter. That's like the size of the United States. So why is it
Cool.
we can't explore there?
Why does that help your point?
Okay,
I'm
I
so
told you this
confused.
already. I already told you this. You should listen. So if we
No,
go
because
north
you
to
think, hold
south,
on. Yeah. So you think that we can't explore this because there is some massive conspiracy by multiple government agencies and multiple governments to stop people from going and exploring the truth about the shape of the earth.
Well,
what's a fact?
just to cut back
Uh,
in here, you just asked him a question about Antarctica, so we're gonna let Austin get into that and keep the conversation moving.
Okay.
What is a fact is that the Antarctic Treaty doesn't allow us to explore there. We can disagree on why they're doing that and is it to hide the shape of the earth or whatever. But what is just a fact is that what would prove the globe is to circumnavigate north to south, go over Antarctica and pop back up on the other side of a ball. What's illegal to do is freely and privately explore Antarctica and try to go over the continent and pop back up on the other side of the ball, and no one's ever done it. So, yes, it's sketchy that we're not allowed to freely and privately explore. It's not what I think a conspiracy is going on, or no, it's just admittedly the case. You can't go there
Right. And I
freely.
have no problem with that, nor do I think it's a point towards flat earthers. I don't think that it's a major issue. Yeah, you can't go to some places on the earth because they are very delicate. Yes, Amazon rainforest burning, that's bad. I would like to stop that. Right. I would vote for someone who wants to stop that. Also protecting very delicate places of our earth, such as Antarctica. Yeah, you
Why is it
probably shouldn't
delicate?
just freely go there.
Why is it delicate?
Why is it? It's a large, like untouched ice expanse with land underneath. It's where we get
Yep.
core samples. It's a place you don't really want to mess up. We learn a lot by going down there and drilling down and discovering ice. You don't want to have military presence down there. You want to have scientists only. You don't want to have tourists. Like I'm totally on board with that.
Okay.
You don't want to
So
have people dropping off like red solo cups of beer in this ice that people
oh
need
my
to
God.
study.
3,500
So
miles. They admit they don't even go to the middle of it because it's too
so much.
dangerous. So this is the facts. This doesn't prove the earth is flat. What it proves is that you can't freely and privately explore the earth, the very region that would help prove the earth's a globe. All the countries are in agreement. It objectively would if you understood basic things like circumnavigation. So you're not allowed to go there freely and privately, only on an approved guided tour to two little sections. So it's highly suspect that our military brought the Nazis over here who were obsessed with Antarctica, then went and explored Antarctica the very next year, then for a decade explored it, came back and said, you guys are not allowed to go there. That means they're probably hiding something in Antarctica.
Right.
Is
So
that
that's also
possible?
begging the question is that you think that the only way that this entire thing that seems really reasonable to anyone looking at it The only way this makes sense to you is if you think there's something being hidden down there, which is the proof of a globe or a flat Earth, right?
No,
This
I
is
said
it's highly
probably.
conspiratorial thinking, and I'm so curious, right? Like you distrust NASA because of well, you made a genetic fallacy there, right? Just because it was started by someone that may or may not have had nefarious reasonings. I don't really land on a side there, but that doesn't mean that what it's doing today is bad or it's tainted in any way. All right, so like
Straw man.
right, people go into space, they take a lot of pictures. We go to the moon. Do you think that people have been to the moon?
Before, wait, straw man fallacy. I did not say I don't believe in NASA because they were founded by Nazis. I said I don't blindly
Oh,
trust federal government agencies founded by Nazis that I've seen and caught faking footage numerous times. You tactically omitted the entire argument, which is that we've
how do
caught
you
them faking footage.
how do you know the footage was faked? I don't understand that. What footage are you talking about, and how do you know it was faked?
There's all kinds of footage. Maybe we should show the audience some of the footage. But for example, they will disappear. An astronaut will just disappear. So he'll start going around the corner and he'll fade out of the screen before he gets around the corner. Well, that's what would happen if you layer an astronaut on a background and try to fade him out. But a camera can't just videotape someone and then they disappear and fade out of picture. Someone's hand can't go through microphones. Someone's hand can't go through a lemon in zero G. Someone's shirt doesn't get pulled like that. Okay, that's what harnesses do though. So we've caught them glitching out and their hands going through objects. We've caught astronauts
Okay,
grabbing objects that aren't there. You're laughing and you've
I am
never
laughing because this is
researched.
ridiculous, right? So you're
You
saying that
blindly believe all this. It's weird.
there's a secretive lying government agency that is making up a massive for you haven't really described the reasons either. So there's hundreds of thousands of people that are hiding this fact that we've gone into space to the moon, the Earth is a sphere, and yet even though they spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year on this project, somehow they're still really, really bad at Photoshop.
It's not as simple as Photoshop.
What?
You're so ignorant, bro. So if you do virtual reality,
Oh
okay,
my
you
God,
have
dude.
to if you do lifetime virtual reality, you have to overlay objects on a live feed. It can be done, but it's not easy because if you're using chroma keys, blue and green screens in virtual reality or augmented reality, it's very difficult to get all the layers properly functioning in live time. So
Yeah,
that's right. They didn't
I've
master it. That's right.
I've
We
done
got them.
photography and editing. I'm pretty understanding of what's going on here. So like
Why
again,
would you say such an ignorant thing then?
so first off, you don't have to do it live. And this is the weird part, is like you're saying that they're doing all this live and then they're messing up, which is like it just blows my mind, right? If you're going to be spending hundreds of $1 millions on this, you pay someone a decent amount of money to make it fairly seamless. You don't have these large issues, right? This is like which one are they? Are they really bad at stuff or are they really good at stuff and you just don't believe it?
They are decently good because people like yourself just blindly believe that they're free falling around an object in a vacuum floating around for 20 years or whatever, but they have messed up. We caught them messing up. You've never even looked at it. So it's like you blindly believe it. So for you, this is effectively a religion. You just can't fathom the idea that someone would lie on that scale. Therefore, it can't be true. And you haven't even researched it. I mean, I would still be a ball earther if I did that as well. That's the easy way out. That's the weak way out.
And I would be a flat earther if I wanted to have a claim to special knowledge based on loosely connected ideas that don't really make any sense. Right? This is
I
all
mean, actually
like
doing research.
no, you're not doing research, dude. Like you're not, right? Did you publish papers on this? Has it been peer reviewed? You're not doing research. You are Googling stuff and you are trying to make it fit some sort of model that you've already concocted in your mind. This
You
is the
think
problem
something
I'm having
can't
with
be
this
true
debate.
unless it's peer reviewed?
This is the problem. No, that's not how true works. I think that it's a higher confidence that it's a reliable source. But
No,
this
I
is
have a
how
peer reviewed
this is
paper
yeah.
that says peer review sucks. Literally. Literally.
Cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
great. That's
let's not
awesome.
bring it
So
up
this is the
anymore.
problem I'm having with this discussion is like there's really no like and this is the thought I had going into this. There's really no sort of evidence of any kind that I could bring in here because you would either say that it's been faked, that it is false, or that you have some counterpiece of evidence that totally blows it out of the water.
I've
Right?
actually
There's
researched
nothing
it.
I could bring. No, you haven't researched. There's nothing I could bring to this. This
What?
is why I
I
wanted to
haven't
This is why I wanted to sit here and actually talk to you about your ideas, talk to you about like how the whole thing works, why it was like, how did this Earth even come to be? Because if it's a sphere Earth,
What?
we have super solid models about how spherical objects are made in space.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So
Yeah,
you don't even
again,
know. I bet you don't even know how they claimed the Earth was made.
okay, cool. I
So
don't
why'd
I
you
don't really
just
care.
invoke it? Why'd you invoke
Because
it?
I don't have to answer that weird bet sort of thing that you
You
have
brought
there,
it
right?
up. You brought it up.
I went through high school science class. I know what an accretion disk is. I know how gravity works, right? I get it. The thing
Okay.
is that this is my problem with this debate is like anything that I bring up, right? Gravity, how does gravity work? Are we going really fast upwards?
No, I know more about. Okay.
How does gravity work? Like
Wait.
this is the problem is that
Before,
anything that I bring
before.
up that you try to provide an
Okay.
answer to, you're just
Okay.
going to either say that my thing is wrong because of some
Well,
crazy conspiracy that you brought up, or that anyone of any sort of a gravitas in the situation is lying, which
all
is
right,
just super rude.
let's step in here. So your question to Austin, he was going to answer there was how does gravity work? I think that's a
Sure.
good conversation to get into there. So we'll kick it over to Austin on that point.
Yeah. So, when you ask me how something works, you're saying that I'll just dismiss it. You're making positive claims. So you have the burden of proof. So when you say, how does gravity work? You don't even know what gravity is. So can you define gravity before I have to explain how it works? Well, what is gravity that I need to explain?
It's a force that moves objects towards the center of large masses.
That's not even what gravity is in your model anymore because that model doesn't work. Gravity's not a force specifically. It's the effect of the bending and warping of space and time that guides things due to the displacement of mass. And it's not a force. And objects change direction based on geodesic paths without a force directly against Newton, who said that it was a force. So you don't know what you believe again. That's the reoccurring theme here.
I'm sorry, you were supposed to explain how gravity works.
Okay. I don't have to explain something that isn't actually substantiated. Can you tell me how Superman works?
How is it not substantiated?
Because again, the model right now admits they don't even know what gravity is. So let's take the current model that you obviously don't know. It's called the theory of relativity. I just explained what it says. When they took that and applied it to this assumed solar system with the ball moving around it and in this solar system flying through space, it was off by 96%. The theory doesn't even work mathematically. If you go ask any physicist in the world worth their salt, what is gravity? They will tell you, we have no idea. All we know is that what we currently think it is wrong and incomplete. Any physicist in the world.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, like at the beginning of this debate, right? This is the process of science. This is the process of discovery. And just because someone gets something wrong doesn't mean you throw the entire thing out and supplant your own thing instead.
No. When you make a claim, you have to substantiate it. Let's talk about how science actually works since you keep bringing that up. So
Sure.
in science, if you have a theory and then the evidence directly goes against your theory, you have to throw your theory out. That's Richard Feynman. Right?
No, you don't throw it out, you refine it.
If the refinement can result in a viable explanation for the evidence.
Great. So how do we stand on a flat disk? Or whatever your model is.
With
You
our
actually
feet.
haven't said what your model is and how we're even like
Shifting
you
the
haven't
burden
said
of
anything about your
immediately.
worldview. I'm asking you to explain your worldview.
Because
Right?
you
This
can't
is the
explain
whole
yours.
flat earth on
That's why.
trial or whatever it is. So go ahead and tell us. Like I'm sure everyone here is very excited to hear
They've all
how
heard it.
how you think that we are standing on this planet. Like how does it work?
We're not on a planet, dude. So the Earth's
Whatever
is
it is you want to
stationary.
call it. Whatever it is you want to call it. How are we standing on it?
It's just with our feet. So it's a stationary topographical plane. It's geocentric cosmos. The Earth is in the center, as all evidence ever has shown us. Right? Your model claims it just looks like that. It's just an illusion. Cool story, bro. Okay, the Earth's in the center. It doesn't move. It's a topographical plane. Seemingly, we're in a torus field, an electromagnetic torus field, and everything moves within that around the Earth. You're more dense than the air, so you go down. Density is held together with electrostatics. Electrostatics is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity's even claimed to be. We have a downward electric current on the Earth, which is 10 microamps per meter. That's why we have a downward bias. That's why things go up and or down relative to their density relationship. Now substantiate your claim that we're on a ball bending convexly, omnidirectionally, and we're being pulled down in all directions by something called gravity that isn't defined.
Okay, yeah, gravity, right? I'm going to start pretty simple. Pulls everything towards the center of this large mass. And when we stand on the planet, gravity pulls us downwards. When you go to higher elevations, you actually are slightly further away from the gravitational pull. So you're actually a little lighter. You can jump a little higher, right? Pretty neat. That was pretty easy, right? Wow. I understand that you're thinking that, oh, he doesn't know what gravity is, and oh, this is some sort of like conspiracy or something. I was like, but it's not. We have to, okay, so like we have to go against the force of gravity, right? And you think it's air density? Is that what you think it is? Air density?
You don't listen. So
did you say everything? Air density? The reason why we're standing on the ground, you're saying we're being pushed down by air.
Everything's intrinsically electrostatic, and then objects go up or down relative to their density relationship. That's provable. If you want to talk about science, I can scientifically test what I'm saying. I can take an object that's more dense than the air. I can drop it. It goes down. Then I can use a Van de Graaff generator to introduce electrostatics. I can make the object levitate and or just go up. I can change its weight. I can change how fast it falls with electrostatics. All objects that exist are electrostatic. The air is electrostatic. Even in a vacuum, there's electrostatics. So I've now scientifically proven that electrostatics will change the weight of an object, how fast it falls, and its direction. Now, can you do the same thing with gravity? Can you give me an experiment that actually isolates gravity and proves it's the cause?
Okay, I'm ready to go to questions. I'm actually like, this is exactly how I thought it was going to go, and I'm not thrilled about this. And Witsit seems to be fairly uncharitable to having like just a regular conversation about what you believe and why. So
no, you're just not being very genuine about the interaction. Like I explained to you.
No, look, what I'm being is I'm being like straightforward on this, right? This is a fringe weird belief that absolutely like very few people believe. I think this is what I think, honestly. I think this whole thing started with a bunch of very sad men in basements trying to get a lot of very special knowledge because their lives suck. And so they're trying very, very hard to have claims to special knowledge to try to make themselves feel more important. I also think that if you talk to any flat earthers, they're going to have completely radically different views of how this whole thing works. Some of them think the Illuminati did it. Some of them think that there's aliens somewhere that have constructed all this. You yourself think that because NASA has some strange beginnings, that it's like a giant lie constructed by I don't know who and for what purpose, right? This is all insane. So I wanted to sit here and get like a real understanding of what you're thinking and how you're thinking it. And it just seems to be like really snotty. So I would like to
You're just not listening. Yeah, we were running away.
No,
because
I am listening, and there's no way. Look, as someone who likes to debate, there's no way for me to possibly prepare for this because out of the thousands of different tiny little things that people on the internet bring up about flat Earth, you could have created a whole nother 1,000 because this is the kind of thing that you enjoy, and I understand that, right? I enjoy debate too, but you have this very strange position. You're trying to create these grand worldviews about it. You're trying to put a lot of people who work really hard, like the folks at NASA, into some strange, nefarious like purpose. Like this is what I thought it would be, and it's really frustrating to me because it's just so obvious to me.
You're just appealing to emotion. That was an appeal to emotion.
That's not an appeal to
poisoning.
I don't care.
Fallacy.
Stop that. Nobody gives a shit. You heard me. Everyone heard me. We can move on to questions.
Now you're getting. All right, I gotta respond to some of that.
No, you don't.
Well,
like,
I will say,
do you think you have special knowledge? Does it make you special? Right? These are all like. That seems to be what's going on.
Well, I will say,
you think you're doing a special thing.
I will say, Malachi, just where you did have a couple of minutes there to kind of close up your thoughts there, I will kick the ball over to Austin for up to a minute and a half there to kind of give a closing thoughts where it seems like that was kind of your kind of more of like a closing statement. So up to a minute and a half to you, Austin, on that there.
Okay. So I get that this conversation sounds crazy when you first hear it. Like when I first heard that people thought the earth was flat and I was confused. I didn't even understand it. I'm like, this is stupid. We have pictures of earth from space. And that's where you are, frankly. that's cool. I can relate to that. I get it. You probably haven't researched it. It hasn't clicked in your mind that it's even like a thing that makes sense to research, and that's whatever. But I used to be there, and believe it or not, so did tens of millions of people that now know that the Earth is not the globe that they told us it is, because you can go test it. So we didn't get to the real specifics here, which is that the Earth claims to be a sphere with a radius value of 3,959 miles. That means, based on basic geometry, the Earth has to curve at a very specific rate. It does not do that, my guy. I tested it all over the United States. It doesn't do that. You can see hundreds of miles away consistently. You can pull infrared out and see even further. The Earth is not what they said it is. You look into it, and the current model says, well, all evidence says we're in the center. We can't prove that we're going around the sun, but we're going around the sun because if we weren't, then maybe God made it and that would make us special. So in reality, it's some weirdos that hate God or whatever. So like they run around making up stories. And yes, most people are not in on the lie. In conclusion, most people believe the lie. Most of the people at NASA believe in the lie. Okay. So I wish that we would have got to more specifics, but per usual, if anyone watches this back and looks at the fallacies I listed off in the presentation, they were all used. And that's what always happens, effectively gaslighting. But I encourage the audience to actually look into some of the stuff I said and test it for yourself, because it may not be as crazy as you think it is. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Austin Witsit and Malachi, for coming out and having this discussion tonight. We're going to kick it over to the Q&A and keep those those super chats coming in, and we'll keep the conversation moving along here. As I'm sure the super chats that we've pulled already are going to launch us into more discussion. So, experiments in prebiotic chemistry for $2. What if the Earth was actually flat? YouTube. I think they're talking about the channel What If. So I think they're kind of plugging that. I don't know if anybody here has seen that. If either of you gentlemen have seen What If, their take on if the Earth was flat.
I don't get my stuff from YouTube. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if they've done a video on it, but I think that's what they're implying here, is that company. So have you seen that video by them, Witsit, about that?
No, if it's like a mainstream hit piece on Flat Earth, I mean, it's going to be really remedial straw man, so it seems like a waste of time.
All right, fair enough. Kango 44, 550. Question for Witsit. Instead of all your fallacy stuff, could you present some evidence for a flat Earth?
I literally predicted that you were going to say that in the presentation. Like, just watch the presentation back. All this fallacy stuff, that's how debates work, intellectual form. The definition of a fallacy is an invalid argument. So we have fallacies for a reason, because what you're saying is stupid and illogical and it's inadmissible. That's why I have to call out fallacies. Argument.
Just saying, it's actually a breach of reasoning.
We'll give you a chance there, Malachi. Let's let him finish up. We'll give 15 seconds.
The definition of a logical fallacy is an invalid argument. And so as to the positive evidence, I have just literally presented it to you. Let me just shotgun some for you. Long distance radio waves, long distance line of sight horizontal microwaves, mirror flashes, long distance observations in both regular spectrum of light and infrared, laser tests at low elevations. We've tested the surface of the Earth where they suppose convexity, and it doesn't exist.
All right. Any thoughts on that, Malachi?
Yeah, this is the same point I've been bringing up this whole time, is that there are no real arguments here, like, because you need to construct like a whole encompassing argument about the flat Earth. You need to show a model. You need to show how it works. What you're doing is the same thing that a lot of these flat earthers do, is that they choose one very specific thing or a couple of very specific things. They say, that's funky. That doesn't work the way I thought it would. And then they attack it thinking that they're actually making an argument, but they're not. All you're doing is saying that something is funky and more inquiry is needed.
Alrighty. So the question was towards you there, Austin. So any closing on that, or continue on?
Yeah. Empirical physical evidence that shows that the Earth's surface isn't curving is evidence for a flat Earth. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving, what is it? Okay. Pretty simple stuff.
Alrighty. Congo again, 550. Question for Witsit. I use an equatorial mount. This only works if the Earth is spherical. My mount works. Please explain why it works.
Yeah. So
Equator.
Explain.
Equatorial. I'm not sure if I said
Equatorial.
that right. Equatorial. I did say it right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I explained in the presentation that the only evidence you'll ever get for the globe is someone saying the Earth's a globe, and this can only happen if the Earth's a globe. If this happens, that's the Earth's a globe. I'm begging the question or affirming the consequence. Anyway, and for any of those that don't know, equatorial mounts, they track the stars in the sky or a celestial body. They track them, right? As they go down to the horizon, because the stars move in our sky, it starts to then track down to the ground, right? So it's literally designed, assuming the Earth's a sphere, it tracks it down, which happens on a flat Earth. The stars get further away and they decline optically. And then it just tracks back down through the Earth and back up to when the stars come back around with the 15 degree per hour sidereal rotation measured for maybe 7,000 years, 5,000 years by now. So that doesn't prove the Earth is a sphere. Tracking the motion of the stars is actually just evidence that the stars move over a stationary Earth. So that's called begging the question.
All right. Let's continue.
So he asked for you to explain real quick. He asked for you to explain how that works on your model. You didn't say how that works on your model.
I literally did. Yeah. The stars move in the sky. I said this already, but I'll say it.
How do the stars move in the sky when we have some flat plane? Where are the stars? What are I mean, there's you have a lot of work to do, as I think what the question is pointing out. You have a lot of work to do when it comes to creating an entire model that actually works and explains any of this.
Yeah.
And you can't just say they move, right? We know that they move because we're in a spherical globe. There's a whole universe around us. We're seeing it. We're seeing you need to show that is what the question is asking.
That's weird because the globe claims that they don't move, but they just look like they move. And it's just an illusion because we're moving. So
no, they do move. It's called red and blue shift is how we measure how fast they're moving away from us or towards us.
Talking about sidereal rotation. It's an equatorial mount. Okay. Anyway,
right.
So the stars move in the sky.
That.
Yeah, the stars move in the sky. It's called sidereal rotation. As to what's the dynamics of it, meaning like the physical cause, the physical mechanism or force, that's a great question. The globe model doesn't know it either. Just explain that their best prediction's off 96%, but seemingly it would be electromagnetic. There's a vortex in the middle of the Earth that extends up and it creates the vortex motion called the Sagnac effect, which is literally what's used to calibrate ring laser gyros, which measure the sidereal rotation. It's called the Sagnac effect, discovered by Sagnac, who said it's a vortex in the ether. So all of the motions fit within the ellipses inside of a torus field. So I think the person that discovered the technology we use to measure it was correct, and that the default empirical evidence is true, not the opposite claim without evidence. Pretty simple stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, gentlemen. Let's continue on here. Kango 44 again, 550. And just a reminder, everybody, keep those super chats coming in. We have all kinds of thoughts here, as you can tell, on what we have coming in so far. So if you have a question for one of our speakers, fire it in the live chat. And let's continue on. So question for Witsit from Kango44. Please explain why traveling west from the UK, I didn't end up at the shore of Antarctica.
What? When you travel east or west, it's relative to north. So you update relative to north as you travel. Okay. So if I'm going around north in the center, I'm going to update east or west in this case. I'm going to keep turning slightly as I go around the center. It's pretty simple stuff.
Any thoughts there, Malachi, or do you want to continue on?
We can continue.
All right. So Thy Messenger, $5. Gullible Globe Believer, why are you okay with astronauts faking space on the ISS? Wire harnesses, CGI mistakes, water bubbles, space rat on booster, etc. Space rat on booster? That sounds like some sort of 80s commercial. Yeah, so Gullible Globe Believer. Oof, that's spicy. So why are you okay with the astronauts faking space on the ISS, wire harnesses, CGI mistakes, water bottles, and space rats on the booster, etc.?
Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson said this really well. He said that when you're trying to scour YouTube, well, this is paraphrasing, when you're trying to scour YouTube in order to find some strange piece of evidence that fits your own already wacky beliefs, you have the problem of having incomplete information. Like, you don't know what's going on outside of any of these frames, right? I've done photography, right? This looks like it was in a dark room, right? This is a well lit room, and I use high speed sync. People say, "Oh, it was a well lit room." Like, no, this wasn't a dark room. This is something behind me. This is something that I did with photo techniques. And again, so like the other problem I'm having with this is like the idea that there's these massively well-funded conspiratorial, I don't know, Illuminati, Freemason, Nazi craziness. I don't know what you're all about, right? But the idea that there's this huge, vast expanse of people that are working, lie to everybody, and they get wire harnesses. Like the Marvel movies don't get wire harnesses wrong, right? They get wire harnesses wrong. They get screen like video editing techniques wrong. There's like artifacts of CGI, right? No, that is ridiculous. You want to talk about like strange and conspiratorial thinking? That is far beyond the pale when it comes to just being absolutely deluded in your beliefs.
Yeah, so you can look up NASA's contracts, and they have contracts with companies that specialize in aerial performances, specifically harnesses that can't be detected by an audience. They're very lightweight and maneuverable. They have tons of contracts with augmented reality companies, virtual reality companies, companies that specialize in creating a set live time via augmented reality. All these are contracted through NASA. We've looked through their footage and caught some of it glitching out. So either you can research it or not, and check out auditnasa.com because we're coming out with a documentary exposing them. And, either stick your head in the sand or look into what you may not know.
Okay, so just to recap on that, you said that they have a contract with a group of event production people who are specialized at making harnesses that you can't see, and yet you saw it?
No, you don't see the wires, but you can see that the shirt moves. Yeah.
A shirt moves is your evidence that NASA is full of shit. Okay.
Specifically
cool.
at angles that are impossible in zero G physically. According to physics in zero G, your shirt can't go like this and then pull your body forward. That's not how zero G works, and it happens consistently on the ISS.
Yeah, that goes back to the Neil deGrasse Tyson quote. You're trying to create grand worldviews out of very little evidence.
Yeah, just broad and vague hand wave dismissal is your debate tactic. It's not very fruitful.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, well, let's continue on from there. Kango 44 strikes again for 550. Witsit, please look at a polished chrome ball. They explicit specular reflections. Specular reflections can occur on any shape object.
That is incorrect. Just saying that it can happen is not true. You can't get a true specular reflection on a surface that is convex. It's basic physics, right? You have a diffused reflection if it's convex or concave. A really extreme example is like clown house mirrors, right? Like you can see it looks all crazy. That's because the mirrors aren't flat, right? So yeah, you get reflections off of, say, a smooth sphere, but they're not specular reflections. There is distortion and stretching of the image that's being reflected.
Alrighty. Let's continue on. Up my list. All right, Paul Bransfield, $5. When NASA says when NASA says that they destroyed the technology, doesn't that mean that the shuttles were destroyed during use, so we have to rebuild them? I should really work on these when I'm and read them before I read them out to make sure there's no typos. When NASA says that they destroyed the technology, does that mean that the shuttles were destroyed during use, so we have to rebuild them?
I think that's to you, Witsit.
Would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think NASA's a bunch of weirdos that claims they went to the moon in '69 and then they destroyed the technology that accomplished the biggest feat in the history of mankind, and that they haven't been able to rebuild it yet. So to me, it's all weird. Did they destroy the rocket technology? I don't know. I went to Kennedy Space Center, did the rocket space garden tour. Very underwhelming. They have the rockets still there. So the answer would be no, the rockets are still there. They're real ones, but they didn't really go to space. You can see them. So I don't know. I don't know what technology they're talking about. Go ask NASA how it's 50 years later, you can't replicate technology from the 50s, but my iPhone's better than a warehouse of computers then. Weird. Coincidence number 578.
All right, let's continue on there. I just saw somebody put a super chat there saying, Malachi, where can we discuss this further? We'll get to that at the end, but I feel like this is a good time just to do a little shout out to Hannah, who's been working hard in the Discord along with Surgeon General to make sure that we have lots of debates happening in there on the daily. So if anybody's wondering where to get a hold of someone like Malachi, they are kicking around there along with a bunch of other people on the Modern Day Debate Discord. So check that out. And I do see right now we have almost 700 people watching, but only 169 likes. So and definitely take the time to go down there and hit that like button, everybody. If we can get everybody hitting the like button, yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll do a little outro solo as well. Oh, I'll get fancy.
Smash the like button, or we're all just going to sit here in silence and stare at you.
And we're going to make weird faces too. Really like intensely odd faces. All right, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be any characters tonight. All right, so Tim Pryor, $10. You've been repeatedly told what the scientific method is by people who actually have degrees in physics. You're wrong, but Flurf reset.
I actually have high-level conversations with astronomers, astrophysicists, quantum physicists of all sorts regularly, geologists, even on my channel, actually. Witsit gets it on YouTube. You can go check it out. There's a series called In the Field. Physicists, PhD in physics, called in the other day. Anyway, I know exactly what the scientific method is. It's very simple. I'm going to really briefly break it down, but you have a naturally occurring phenomena. So it's an observable phenomena you see. You're like, I want to explain that. Okay, so let's figure out what causes that to happen. So that's your presumed cause, your independent variable. You isolate it so you can manipulate it and see if it changes the effect. So you can prove a cause and effect relationship test. After you propose a hypothesis, a cause and effect relationship test. So it's pretty simple. You manipulate the independent variable to verify that it causes the dependent variable, the observable phenomena. That is science.
Alrighty. Let's continue on. Sky Scion, $4.99. Austin, I heard you're having a summit. Where can I find info on this?
TrueEarther.com is where you can read about the summit. It's going to be super dope. It's a virtual summit online. We got people talking about, let's just say, terrain theory, important information that the average person doesn't know about regarding law, stuff about the earth, stuff about electroculture, stuff about different variants of health, ancient information that's not well known. So super dope. 2-day summit, has all kinds of information, dope things. Even if you're not sure about the earth, it's not even about that, just a bunch of cool presentations. So trueearther.com is where you can get your tickets, and then you can use Witsit50 and get 50% off.
All right. Awesome. As you heard there, that's where that event is going to be, and it warranted triple dopes, apparently. Triple dopes it's going to be. I was going to say, I was going to say, I heard it the first time, and I was like, it's going to be dope. That's cool.
I said it 3 times.
That's cool. That's cool. I was going to say, so you heard it here. Let's continue on. Always appreciate you guys being here and having these conversations. Tim Pryor, $20. Thank you so much, Tim. When Austin can name one field of science or any scientist that agrees with him, we'll listen. Until then, he should not be allowed to say the word science, but millions have jobs depending on gravity. We'll just put like that up on the floor for 5 minutes there, expound on that, the two of you. So have at it.
Yeah. So the field of science doesn't do anything. Field of science is an idea. It's a concept. It doesn't say anything, do anything. There are different people that perform science or study within scientific fields, and they're individuals and they think different things. And if there's a cult of belief that can't be challenged, that's the opposite of science. The entire idea of science is to constantly try to figure out what's going on and have new ideas. And I know tons of scientists and physicists that do agree with me. And when you say that all these people rely on gravity, what you actually mean is they use 9.8 meters per second squared, an average of how fast things fall, for engineering. That's it. That's all they do. Well, okay, we can solve for that with a kinematic equation. We know that everything's intrinsically electrostatic. We can solve for that without even knowing the cause of gravity or that it's what people think it is at all. Things fall down at an average rate. That's how we get weight. So when we build things, we have to account for its weight. So yeah, we do that on a flat earth too. I hate to break it to you. So there you go. There's all kinds of fields of physics and science, and they're comprised of many people that have many different opinions. It's not a conglomerate like a religious cult, like online ballers are.
All right, any thoughts on that, Malachi?
Yeah, I have a couple that are kind of not directly connected to the gravity question, but like, I mean, like it seems like, you have distrust of these institutions because you think that they have, I don't know, agendas. And then I just heard in the response to the last question that you actually make money off of doing this. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to have a conversation with people because I like to do that. I mean, I have a job, full-time job. So it's like, I think it's interesting that like you're over there saying like, oh, these people, they have some sort of agenda. The scientific community has an agenda or something like that because they want to do X, presumably make money. But then you're also doing like the exact same thing. You're creating these counterpoints to appeal to an audience that also like you're trying to make money off of it. I'm just trying to like figure out like how do you balance these agendas?
Yeah.
Like how
so, oh, there he goes. The ether did not like your comment, bro.
Oh, you cut out there for a second, Malachi. What was the last thing you said there?
Oh, I was just trying to figure out how he balances these like how is his agenda righteous and yet other people who are in the scientific community like deluded or something.
All right,
yeah,
start to that time.
Yeah, I have no problem with anyone doing science that's truly trying to figure out what the truth is, and that's cool with me. To imply that I talk about the Earth not being a tilted, wobbling, spinning weirdo globe in a vacuum flying around the sun, but no one can tell, brought to you by Jesuits, priests, and openly admitted sun-worshipping occultist weirdos, doesn't have any logic to it to insinuate that I chose that to make money when it's censored and I've been kicked off PayPal and I had to sacrifice a six-figure job because I talked about flat earth online and they said, take the videos down or you can't have the job. So I didn't do this for money. I basically make nothing on YouTube because I'm heavily censored. I run multiple businesses myself, but I speak the truth because despite the societal ostracism and the attacks and the ridicule from people that are less informed and the censorship and the being kicked off of different platforms, even third-party payment platforms, I speak the truth because it's the right thing to do. And there are tons of people that blindly believe in the word science, don't know what science is, don't do any research, and they handed their thoughts over to the idea of a group that they can't even define. And now we have a bunch of brainwashed people easily propagandized. So I speak the truth at the detriment of my finances, and I don't demonize an entire group of quote unquote scientists either. That would be a straw man.
Okay, so now it sounds like you're a cultist.
Okay. Yeah. Cool story, bro.
All right.
All you have is like ad homs and poisoning the well fallacies. It's pretty low level.
I told you at the beginning of this, like there's so much, like there are thousands of strange things. The flat earther community does not agree with anyone. I didn't even know who actually I was talking to until I jumped on here. There's no way that I could, like, I'd have to go and get multiple degrees, PhD level degrees in multiple fields in order to try to even have like a cogent conversation about any of this. So it's like, I'm here to just explore and learn and understand what's going on with this conversation. And that's where I'm at, right? That's what I'm trying to experience. And what I get is that you have to,
books.
What I get, well, I'm actually not really all that interested in the flat earth conversation because I don't think it's a debate. Physics. I think it's sort of like a ridiculous thing. Yeah.
Profound. All right. Well, I think we've expounded on the more than 5 minutes on that question there. Thank you, Tim Pryor, for the $20 super chat. Kango44 once again striking for $11. Witsit, do you have expertise in VR and computer generated imagery? I have been working in the field for 30 years. Could you talk to the rendering and optics NASA are using?
Okay. Well, all I can speak to is what their openly admitted contracts are, which are with augmented reality, virtual reality, a company that specializes in, say, for example, you can be talking in front of a green screen and live time, which is actually very impressive technology. Live time, They can make it look like they're in a real professional, like Fox Sports studio, but they're just in front of a green room, which has been done for a while, but live is tricky. They have a contract with that company. I mean, as to what they're doing specifically, it looks like they're using chroma keys, blue and green screens, augmented reality. They're using contacts that use virtual reality. You can see the context literally change in their eyes. You can watch them look forward as they're trying to grab objects, which is what you do with virtual reality overlaid. And then they miss the object, or there's not an object there, or their hand goes through the object, or objects fall in 0G. So I don't trust what they do. It's that simple. There's enough evidence there to not trust them, much less build my entire worldview off of ignoring the thousands of glitches, or let's say hundreds of glitches. So I just think that's weird, bro. I don't believe in the government. Like, I want evidence I can test myself. Bro. Were you not here for the last 3 years? We should probably not blindly believe the government that flaps every day and has your worst interest in mind.
Yeah, I got a real quick comment. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, like, so again, this is it goes towards like this whole absolute, like, incredible claim that NASA is somehow making this stuff up because, right, you found out about these contracts, right? Mm-hmm. They're publicly funded. They're publicly funded, so they have to produce like a lot of financial information about what they're doing. You find out about these contracts, and it's like, I just don't understand how, again, like they're this massive kind of like nefarious organization that's trying to hide stuff, and then they don't remember to hide their contracts with like production companies. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
They can't, and they don't even have to.
You think that they're both brilliant and inept at the same time, and it just doesn't work.
No, there's no they. It's not. It's a compartmentalized group of people. Okay, and if you can explain to me why NASA needs a contract with the company that makes a studio look like it's something it's not, live time with green screen, feel free to enlighten me. But until then, you can give some understandable way that makes sense. When I see their hands go through microphones, I know that's physically impossible, but it's exactly what happens with augmented reality that's layered. So I don't know. Are you scared to look into it? You should look into it at Super Suspect. You might want to know what you're defending. The government is, NASA is faking footage. It's easy to prove that. You just have to go watch it.
I don't want to respond to that, so go on.
Alrighty. So, Run Booster Bear, 1999. Tim, you have no idea what Austin is talking about because you haven't looked into anything he says. I don't know who Tim is, maybe somebody in the live chat. He's bringing truth and crushing the fake globe narrative in the process. The truth of where we live is actually important. Any thoughts on that sentiment there?
I mean, I'm not Tim, but I can chime in. I actually don't think that this is a very important thing. So like Witsit has said a couple times, right, that it's like, oh, well, gravity isn't a thing. It's actually a vortex at the center of this crazy disk, and we still do things accurately. So I actually don't really see why this is even an important conversation to a lot of people to spend so much time on. If it was a globe or if it was flat and we're still able to like operate the same way on a day-to-day basis, I really don't see how that's like something to really care about.
What if there's more land?
What would you do with land?
We could just move to more land. What do you mean? Like, what if there's more land? If the Earth is flat, it means it's in this. Hey, if the Earth is flat, it means in the center of the entire cosmos.
Again, I don't really see how that's like a useful thing right now. I mean, we're kind of struggling to deal with the land that we have. I don't think we would want to go and get more land.
What you think you would be cool with a group of people saying the slaves aren't allowed to go to this land, like the Hunger Games, like draw a circle around you and say you can't leave? Like, we're just fundamentally different people if you just would complacently sit there knowing that there's land you're not allowed to go to. But I know the mass majority of the public wouldn't think that.
Okay, so now that's more conspiratorial thinking. Not only is this whole flat Earth thing true, and then the globe Earth is a fake, but there's also some sort of like financial or territorial reasons to stop us from exploring these different areas. That's highly suspect.
What you do is you ask, why would it even matter? You say, I can't think of anything that would even change. And then someone gives you a speculative answer about one of the things that it could change, and then you respond with, "You're just making up baseless conspiracies." You asked because you seem to not even be able to think about the possibilities of what the lie could conceal. It would conceal that the Earth is in the center of the entire cosmos. It would conceal that there could be more land. It would show that you can trust your senses and you don't have to blindly believe authority, that everything's the opposite of what you observe. It would show that the countries work together. Maybe we shouldn't fall for divisive, illusory politics. There's all kinds of things that it shows. I think you should figure out if it's true or not before just avoiding it because you don't know why it matters.
Okay. And then you and the Flat Earther Consortium are holding conferences and making YouTube videos instead of actually doing something about it.
What are we supposed to do about it?
No, I don't know. It's your crazy conspiracy, right?
There you
Like get a plane, fly down there. Like if you're worried about getting shot down, it
can't.
seems like that's something to be shot down for. Right?
Yeah, I have
Doesn't
a
it?
5-month-old. I
Like-
should go die. I should go die because you say so. The guy who hasn't even researched what he thinks is stupid. The height of ignorance, the height of folly is to dismiss something prior to investigation. So,
Well, I think this is a great
Congratulations on your
place.
newborn.
Oh, no. Yes, as a sidestep, congratulations. Absolutely. Yes. Babies are
thanks.
a lot of fun when they stop wearing diapers.
It's cool.
I've
It's cool
got-
in the diapers, bro.
I was going to say, I've got older kids now, and, it's always something that I'm like, oh, my wife every once in a while will be like, do you ever want to like have another kid? And I'm like, the diaper days. Do you remember the
Make
diaper
more
days?
babies. You make more babies, bro.
Remember the diaper days, yeah. All right. So, experiments in prebiotic chemistry, $5. What would be the benefit for the government to lie to the public about the shape of the Earth? What is there to be gained by that?
We just like discovered that, right? I mean, for one, it's just like as people, we want to know the truth. Truth is just important in general. The true nature of where you live is important, right? Like if you go see a sunset, I'm supposed to believe that the sun is stationary and it looks like it's moving and setting, and I'm falling backwards. I just can't tell. Can't figure anything out. I'm like a caveman and I can't understand anything. I need daddy government and scientists that I can't explain or define tell me what I believe. That alone is important. Just truth is important. But they could be hiding land. The evidence suggests they are hiding land. Go watch the Hunger Games, compare it to reality, and wonder why it's so similar. They drew a circle around you called the 60th South latitude. You're not allowed to leave it. That's a fact. Whether you think it's weird, whether you want to justify it, fact of the matter is it's 2023. There are a ton of people that live on the earth who have a circle drawn around them. They're not allowed to leave. And 90% of the public doesn't even know it exists. That's weird. That's objectively weird.
Any thoughts on that, Malachi, before we move on?
I mean, no, not particularly.
All right, I know we're getting close to the time that you had said you wanted to be wrapping up, but we still got quite a few super chats here. Are you good to stay for a little bit longer to try to get these wrapped up, Malachi?
A little bit. Are any of them directed towards me?
I do have some directed towards you, so if you are on a tight time schedule, we can kind of get through some of yours if you need to get moseying on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Okay, so we'll go through here. We'll pick out yours, Malachi, and then we'll come back to Austin's if you run out of time there. So, Shane Cup. Malachi has not presented one piece of evidence we live on a ball. He's just appealing to authority and ad hominem Austin. Flat smacked.
What was the prompt for this debate exactly?
It is globe versus flat.
Oh, I thought we were going to do flat Earth on trial or something like that. That's fine. Globe versus flat. So at the beginning, I actually went over 5 different pieces of evidence to talk about it, but that's really not where I wanted to be with this conversation. I wanted to understand where my opponent was at, and I wanted to understand where the conversation was at. And just like I was saying, like bringing a piece of evidence and then someone saying, huh, that's interesting. It doesn't, necessarily work like that or something like that. That's not creating your own model, right? That's not building a worldview in itself. You're just poking at other sort of things, right? It's problematic, right? Like it's kind of the nature of these debates where it's like, I can spend a lot of time reading everything that I can on the internet, reading books, going through and trying to figure out what sort of things my opponent will bring up. And then because it's such a crazy and unhinged group, they will just make up their own crazy bullshit. And like, so, I mean, Sam Harris spoke about this. There's a big reason why he didn't do a lot of interviews that he was asked to do, is that you can't spend a lot of time going through and trying to debunk every weird thing that someone is going to bring up, because then you're like, it's kind of the nature of these debates, right? Like, it's kind of set up for failure on anyone who's like really interested in like the facts of this matter, instead of trying to just run around and debunk everything that everyone brings up randomly out of their ass.
All right, well, let's continue on there. So I got another question for you, Malachi. Shane Cup, $1.99. Does Malachi have literally one globe proof at all?
Kind of just covered this, right? Like, this is like, you can, so very simple, right? As I've been on a ship and I've gone away from a port, the port will slowly disappear from the bottom up. I mean, that is a significant piece of evidence. So I don't really understand, like I could bring up several pieces of evidence and they tie in really well together. They create like a sort of a worldview. It already supports this massive body of evidence that you can go out there and look at. And all it takes is for conspiracy theorists and for people who are deluding themselves to say, but what about this one sort of random kind of connected thing that doesn't seem to work the way we think it should work? And it's like, now you have to launch down this entire investigatory path that we don't even have time for, let alone do I have the energy or the want to dive into absolutely every piece of conspiracy bullshit that people bring up.
All right, let's continue on. Malachi from Nick for $10. Why did you state at the beginning that you wanted to have a civil debate because you wanted to learn about flat Earth, but immediately started calling Austin a crazy conspiracy theorist?
You can do both, right? Like I understand his perspective now, and I said it pretty clearly kind of in my conclusion, which is like, I basically think that a lot of these folks kind of want to have some sort of secret knowledge, that it's a deep fundamental need for people to feel special. And a lot of these guys go out and they try to concoct these worldviews because it makes them feel like they're doing something different or important.
All right, another one from Nick for $10. Malachi, after calling Austin a conspiracy theorist, why did you rage quit after he was answering your question on his model of how things would work on a flat Earth?
How much money did Nick spend so far?
Well, I was going to say, we can definitely go back through the live chat and figure that out. But he's asking, I think that was when your computer or your internet may have crashed there, honestly. That's what he might be.
That was when I explained the electrostatic nature of gravity.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
Storm passing through. I'm in sort of a rural area. Internet power is a little spotty. I'm gonna rage quit, but I understand how it might appear that way. Go. This Nick, you can just. Oh, my connection is stable. Look at that. You can go onto the Discord, to the Modern Day Debate Discord, and just ping me. And if I have time, I'll come in and chat with you if you really want to ask that question.
All right. Well, let's continue on then. Yeah, and don't worry, people in the live chat there. I am getting your questions. It's just that I'm moving them around a little bit here, just where Malachi's on a bit of a time crunch. That way, when he's, in case his internet crashes or he gets to the end of his time, he can leave at his leisure there, and we'll have all of his questions answered. So let's continue on. I already answered that one. Malachi, what is the name? This is from Ethan W0406. $5. Malachi, what is the name of a published paper university research project that tested and confirmed the curvature of the Earth? Please drop a specific link. Or be specific, or drop a link.
You want me to do that now? I can just go and find one. I mean, they're not hard to find.
Well, that's
that seems like a waste of everyone's time. Again, if you really want to have that conversation, how about you just jump into the Modern Day Debate Discord, @ping me, and we can go over throwing pieces of papers at each other.
Yeah, do you want to tell everybody what your Discord handle is?
In a world.
It's Malachi.
Satellites must be messing up.
Oh, sorry. What was your Discord handle? Sorry.
Malachi.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a whole thing that you have to look up. But yeah, sorry.
Nope. Just Malachi.
I'm
Just
new to
at ping me
Discord.
in one of the chats. Yeah, at ping me in one of the chats. I don't really do like a lot of socials or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not on here to like make money or anything like that. I'm just on here to have conversations and I really enjoy them. So at ping me,
I
we'll
wish
chat
I
on
made
Discord.
money here. Hey, I'm gonna. You're still reading chats to him, right? So I'm gonna step away and run to the bathroom real quick.
Hey,
You're still reading his.
yeah, I know I'm all good with that. Yeah, grab yourself a drink, do whatever you need to do, buddy. Austin's stepping out for a minute, so we're gonna keep asking a few questions to Malachi here. And Malachi as well, to yourself. If you need to use the washroom or get a drink or anything like that at any time, that's fine. We can keep rolling. So, Run Boston Bear, Malachi, people in the chat may tell you, Austin, myself, are or all true earthers are lying when the truth is the lie has already been propagated for hundreds of years. There is no globe earth except in the minds of men.
That doesn't sound like a question. It sounds like an exposition. But so to kind of respond to it, like this has only really come up incredibly recently, right? That there was no flat earthers for a very long time, until like I think probably like 2012. I guess this stuff started to get a little bit more popular. I mean, I blame YouTube algorithms, quite frankly, right? Like I actually created a new Gmail account and went onto YouTube, and it immediately started sending me, because I'm like a mid-30s-year-old white guy who was in the military for a while. It immediately started sending me towards like all this alt-right craziness and flat earth stuff. So yeah, I blame the recent popularity and all this on basically like YouTube algorithms and people feeling, I don't know, depressed, down, and wanting to seek some sort of like a higher power or some sort of like knowledge, special knowledge that they think is going to help them.
All right, gotcha. And all right, looks like Witsit's coming back. Malachi, into the break for $1.99. Malachi, what do you think science is?
I mean, these questions are getting a little condescending, in my opinion. So I don't need to answer that. Just open a book, check out the word science, see the see the definition, and we're probably on the same page.
The etymology of science is to know. It's the pursuit of knowledge. Natural science has a very specific set of parameters called the scientific method, which we discussed.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
All right, well, let's continue on there. So I'm just going to make sure. Ryan for $10. I can censor some of this because he's got a little bit, he's coming at you a little bit, so I don't know how much you want me to censor that, but it says Malachi clearly hasn't looked into any of the flat earth or arguments. Flat earthers know more about the globe model than globers. Also, there is video evidence of harnesses being used.
Okay, so to respond to that, so first off, I don't actually look into this topic all that much. There was an opening and I wanted to have the chat, so that's why I'm here. I'm really more of a philosophy guy and social sciences guy, which is the direction that it seems like a huge piece of cognitive dissonance going on, where you think NASA is not only amazing and capable of like, this is my internet connection is unstable. Hold on, am I good?
You're good
back
now. Yeah.
Okay. It seems like a big piece of cognitive dissonance that NASA is not only like able to create all these like web of lies to deceive everyone, but they're also incredibly bad at doing like just basic video editing. It seems stupid.
It's super hard to do that, bro.
It's really not.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like Gravity post edited for months. Try to do something live is very difficult. You ask why would they do it live? To convince people it's legit. Verify it's a live transmission. So.
But you have no way to verify that it's a live transmission, though. They could just broadcast it at some other time. And if you don't think that the satellite is up there, you can't even like find out where the satellite is that's broadcasting it.
That's a decent point.
Kind of self-defeating.
Well, you can tell on the surface if the transmission's live. I mean, could they fake that? Sure, in theory. Now you're the conspiracy theorist, so I don't.
All right, let's continue on. Hot dogs for sale. Oh, yes, hot dogs. Give me some. $5. Mal, please explain how the Earth's iron core is 5,200 Celsius and can generate the planet's magnetic field with Curie temperature of iron is 770 Celsius.
Okay, there's a really cool movie called The Core. Had Aaron Eckhart in it. They kind of go over that. You can just go watch that.
Yikes. Harvard and
Like I'm
Stanford
saying, like
admit
I
you
this
can
isn't
explain it.
like it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what I say because someone is going to make up some crazy bullshit and they're going to spin it around. And like this is it's to me, this is such a non-issue. And that's why I'm saying I approach this from a philosophical and a social sciences mindset because what I see is I just see a bunch of people who are pseudo intellectuals who actually like if they applied their energies could do something really, really fucking cool. And instead of doing that, they're trying to pretend that they have some sort of access to secret and powerful knowledge, and it's a very strange thing.
Or maybe they're right.
Yeah, that's possible too. I just don't see it.
Yeah. You have to look into it to see something, huh?
All right, well, let's continue on. Uh, let's see if I got any other ones here for you, Malachi. Annie Purdue, $5. Malachi, flat earthers always seemed not for real. If I genuinely believed in half of it, I would be seriously be unable to function, even eat.
That's interesting because I kind of said the opposite today, where it's like you don't like there are people that believe in the flat earth that you will like you might even know these people and they'll never come up, right? This is you operate on the flat earth the same that you would operate on a globe earth and you go about your day, you work, you have drinks with friends, you take care of your child. Like it's really like you can't tell for the most part. It's only when you press these people on some very specific topics and they start to like show their crazy colors.
But I want to point out to you real fast. Let me say this. It actually has very deep philosophical implications, which is why I'm perplexed as to why you haven't. Maybe you're not interested because you haven't put that part together. Maybe it's a better way to say. It has very deep philosophical implications, even just with like the Copernican principle itself, which says the Earth doesn't occupy a special or unique position or a tiny speck of dust, and the universe is so big, it's illogical to think that we'd be special and we're flying through space and us. If the Earth is in the center, it does have a special and unique position. Those are philosophically and diametrically opposed, right? So that's a huge philosophical implication. I mean, that's like life altering, like difference, right? So
No.
it
Oh, I'm
is.
sorry. I thought you were done. No,
Well, it
so it's
is.
not, right? So no, so like if we were the center of the universe, that only makes any sort of interesting sense if the center is some place of superiority, which it's not. There's no reason that the center of things is any more important than some being located on the outside fringe of things. Like it doesn't make any sense
Huh?
to think that that's important.
But
Could
everything
you
would be
explain though? I mean,
moving
I'm
around.
curious. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Like that,
what is the
that means
implication that if we were the center of the universe, what does that matter?
that. Well, that means that everything in the cosmos is moving around the Earth. So
So,
that means it's a unique and special position. If the Earth is in the center of
no.
everything that exists that can be observed, then who put it there? Like, is there any
Okay.
logical? Now you want to immediately strawman me as I believe in flat Earth because I'm religious. I hate religion. I think religion is the death of knowledge. So we can
Okay.
go ahead and
Wasn't
get
gonna
out in
say
front of
that.
that. Well, I'm not some real. I don't believe the Earth's flat. I know the Earth's flat, and it's not because of religion. My point is, logically speaking, if you say, "Oh, well, there was a Big Bang and there's a million miles in all directions," I mean, of course, you got an Earth eventually. You have crazy odds. If the Earth is in the center of everything that exists, you can't really just chalk it up to chaotic happenstance and odds. It's in the center, like so. It requires direct intention and determination to place it in the central position. So it is philosophically significant. I mean, I could tell
No,
you Edwin Hubble and Stephen Hawking and Einstein agree with me on that. So
yeah, that's great. I'm glad that they agree with you. The point is, no, it's not significant. If the Earth was center to everything, it would only be significant if you apply significance to it, which there has to be a center of the universe. I don't think that there's anything particularly special there. I think it's the point at which the Big Bang expansion happened. Um, Probably. I mean, you don't know. It could have happened at different rates in different parts of space, and so maybe the center isn't where we thought it was at all. But again, this isn't like you operate your day without thinking about the center of the universe. You go to work, you kiss your wife, you operate your day without that. So the idea that this comes up a lot is it's not true.
well, I mean, I'm just saying it would mean that it required intention to place it there. Like,
No, it doesn't though. It doesn't require intention. Something has to
what?
be at the center. So no matter what that thing is, why is that intentionally placed there? Why does that
That means
require
the Big
intention?
Bang goes out the window, though, right? Like, there is no Big Bang with the Earth in the center, and the current model claims there is no center. It claims that everywhere you're at will look like the center. And the Earth looks like it's the center with all evidence ever, but it's just an illusion because everywhere looks like the center, and there is no center. But because the evidence shows that we're in the center. So they had to say, well, it looks like that, but it's a stubbornly persistent illusion, to quote Stephen Hawking. So, yeah, I'm just saying, logically speaking, if the Earth is in the center of everything that exists, one could logically conclude some type of intention had to put it there. But I guess we can agree to disagree. I mean,
Okay.
All right. Well, this looks like a good time to inject with. I got a few questions that are kind of for both of you, and we're going to try to hammer those ones first, and then if Austin, if you're good to hang out and answer some of the rest of these super chats here, you're more than welcome to hang out. Of course, Malachi, if you're able to, and have any back and forth that you want to have about this. So, as for the ones that are for both of you, Zion Talks, our good friend of the show, $2. What point is Earth's center? How do you know it?
if the Earth's in the center, how do you know it? That's the question.
Well, I don't know if he's asking exactly like what point is the Earth center. Like maybe he's asking like what is the point of that. Like I think it kind of touched on that, but maybe he's also talking about like physically, like where would be the center of the Earth. I don't know. We can kind of go down both of those paths if you'd like.
Seemingly towards the North Pole. You know, you can't privately and freely explore within 500 miles of each direction of that either. And actually, there's something called the distant warning system. The distant early warning system, founded in 57, coincidentally the same year that they shut down the North and South and then signed the Antarctic Treaty 2 years later. Just another coincidence, but anyway, now it's a North warning system. Long story short, anyone that goes past 55 degrees north, it hits a trip line that the military has, admittedly, and they start monitoring you. You're not allowed to go to the center. Their excuse is that it's dangerous and it's too close to opposing geopolitical interest or whatever. So that's suspect, but that would seemingly be where the center is because everything moves around Polaris from our perspective. What would be the evidence for us being in the center? Literally that everything moves around the Earth. The current model says it looks like everything moves around the Earth, but that's an illusion. First, they say it's because the Earth's spinning, but when we look out further in space, it'll show that everything's moving chaotically in all directions. But then they found out that wasn't true. Even the distant galaxies are moving directly relative to the Earth. That's when Hubble was like, whoa, what's going on? And then they came up with the accelerative expansion theory, the idea that if you blow up a balloon, everywhere is going to look like it's in the center. If you put a bunch of raisins in a loaf of bread, which is stupid because, of course, when you blow up a balloon, it comes from a central point. So anyway, long story short, all the evidence that we observe in the sky shows that the Earth's in the center. The heliocentric model agrees with this. They say it's just an illusion. It's called relativistic principle, specifically the equivalence principle. According to relativity, they're equally valid to say that the Earth's in the center and the sun moves around us or vice versa. And they say that it's just an illusion that all evidence makes it look like we're in the center. So my position obviously is all the empirical evidence looks like we're in the center because we are and we're not moving.
All right. Any thoughts on that, Malachi?
No, well covered. Thanks.
All righty. Let's see if we got any ones that are for the two of you. Run Boston Bear, 1999. Dear chat, do not be fooled by troll posts about Austin not being credible. He can hold his own with PhDs in multiple fields. The following has never been proven: Earth's curvature, axial rotation, and Earth orbiting the sun.
Yeah, you can check out In the Field on my channel. I like to bring on physicists and astrophysicists and astronomers so that you can have respectful disagreement and higher level intellectual discussion. And when it comes down to it, they basically all can see there's no actual evidence that we're moving around the sun. It's just a philosophical interpretation. Just weird.
Okay. And any thoughts on that, Malachi?
I didn't think that was to me. I'm not trying to discredit Austin on what he knows. I think he's done a lot of work here. And I think that he does a lot of very interesting inquiry. I just think that he gets at the wrong conclusion.
All right. Jester Bear, $5. The center of the universe is special because it's where everything began. Are beginnings in time not important to astronomy and science in general? I think that one's for you, Malachi.
Yeah, where it began. Again, this is like, so first off, we're for this conversation, we're assuming that the Earth is the center or something like that, or that there is a center to the universe, which you would call like that at where, the point at which the Big Bang started. And to think that there's something special there is, I think, like science fiction, right? Have you ever played No Man's Sky, right? You get to the center of the galaxy or something, and there's like a portal. It's like, no, it's just where it began. It just has a locus, and we're in a spatial, like, we're in space. Something has to have had a locus. That's not that important. I don't really see the importance there.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I already said it, bro. I just think if we're in the center of everything, as far as I can logically and philosophically deduce, some type of intention had to place it there, and a necessary antecedent to order is intention, certainly of that level. So if we're in the center of everything, who put it there is the question. And it's a pretty logical one, according to all philosophers throughout all of history.
So I would be curious as to why you say who and not what.
Yeah, sure. What intention put it
Okay.
there? That's fine.
So okay, so you're applying intention to like inanimate forces of nature too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to just say it's not a who or what, I have no problem with the lack of personalization, because that kind of gets into like religion, right? Like, who did it? Let's describe who he is and stuff like that. And I don't like dogmatic religion, and I think it's man's in a attempt to explain the inexplicable in a way. But yeah, intention does, as far as we can comprehend, intention is somewhat personified, right? So if you want to say it's an energetic, that's why I say who. I can't interpret intention not being a who, but that's just because we're man. That's how we interpret intentions.
Yeah, I agree. We assign agency to whenever you're talking about plans or intent, you have to have an agent to do it, right? But okay, cool.
As far as we can get.
Alrighty. Well, let's continue on then. Jamnik, sorry, 06, 499. Malachi, thank you for your approach to this debate. It exposed a lot of ways BS can be compiled. I think that's what they meant, but it says complied and spread.
Yeah, but what's so like frustrating about this is I didn't want to be a flat earther. So like I get the idea, right? Like, and I think there's some truth to that, to be honest. Like, people think if they discover something special, it makes them special, and like they're the special boy. I know something you don't. And even frankly, a lot of flat earthers kind of carry themselves like that. But so do leftists, and so do people that are on the right, and everyone thinks they're special boys. But that's not what happened with me. I had to get talked into doing it, turned it down multiple times, and lost six figures to do it. So I don't know. It's weird. It's the meta's cool and all, but what happens is if you dare look, it's kind of like, hey, your girlfriend's cheating on you. Like, she wouldn't do that. I pay all the bills. I'm like, bruh, video. She went to the bathroom in the club with the dude, and you're like, I'm not looking at it. I know she wouldn't cheat on me. Well, then you can definitely go marry her, believe it forever. But that's the thing about flat Earth, bro. Once you look, you can't unsee it, and that's why you got suggested flat Earth at some point, because the algorithms prioritize them because people fell down the rabbit hole, not because they wanted you to think the Earth was flat. That's why they came in and censored it. So anyway, long story short, if you choose to look into it, bro, I promise it's insane. It's insane how much you take for granted, and you realize this is a house of cards. So it just depends on you can get past that first step.
Yeah, so I just have a quick question in response. So like, what do you think about my unique position here, and anyone who's going into debate this flat Earth thing? That, like, not only do I have pretty much no idea what sort of things you're going to bring up, but also, flat Earthers, from the reading that I did, flat Earthers have like all these competing things. They contradict each other all the time. Just like
Oh, you cut out for a second there.
Did I cut out? Okay. I'm trying to gauge how you feel about my position here, where it even, sorry, it's raining like crazy. order to even have this conversation, like I would have to know all the things you're going to bring up, and then I'd have to like try to go and debunk those in advance. But then you could bring up like pretty much anything because that seems to be like a bottomless pit that flat earthers can pull from. Like, what do you think about my position on that?
No, like I get the aspect that we're talking about the earth, so it's like everything. So it's overwhelming, and yeah, like you can't be no one that's not looked into it for a long time can be expected to like answer every point of contention or something like that. But at the same time, it should be very easy to offer sufficient exclusive evidence that the Earth's a sphere, and that simply
So
isn't the case. And so,
sorry, I
well,
didn't
it
interrupt.
just you get it.
Again,
Yeah.
my internet's spotty. So it's like it's not even that, right? It's not even that like I could go through and like create these like arguments and stuff. It's just like some I've ran into flat earthers that think that this like I hear you're against religion, but I'm just bringing up an example. Some flat earthers think that the reason why the earth looks the way it does is because they're like biblical young earth creational literalists that think that God put it here, right? And it's like I that could have been where you were coming at in this debate. I don't know because there are so many people bringing up so many points, and most of which I think that you would actually disagree with. Like, how do you think, from my perspective, how should I properly prepare for a discussion like this?
Just like test your own belief. What made everyone a flat earther was like, I'm going to go prove the globe and address this insanity that somehow has popped out of the internet in the 21st century. Go prove the globe. That's why people are flat earthers. You can't do it unless you lie to yourself about fallacious assumptions. But I don't really know many people that think the earth is flat because the Bible says so. They definitely exist, but not that many. There's a lot of people that discovered the earth is flat and then they're like, oh, like now the Bible actually is viable. So I think that's a misrepresentation that happens, and I can see from the outside why people would look at it like that, because they'll come to you and they'll be like, well, look what the Bible says. But from my experience, people find out about flat earth and they're like, I may have been a little dismissive about some of these ancient texts. So yeah, I think it's much more the evidence, and it requires kind of swallowing the pill that you're going to go verify your belief. Most people don't do that. It's easy. It's easier not to do that, honestly. Like sometimes I think about what would it be like if I didn't do that, but I think it would suck.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. All right, so we'll continue on there. Yeah, and once again, Malachi, I don't know if you have a time crunch there or if it's just worried about the internet there cutting out on you, but sorry, it looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, like when we're done with my questions, I will be jumping off. I have to go.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem at all. Let me just double check here. I think that might be it for your questions. So, yeah, if you have to jump out, that's all fine. So, thanks for being here, Malachi. Give Malachi some love in the live chat there. Thank you to both of our speakers, of course. We have lots more questions here for you, Austin. So, if you're good to answer a few more for our live viewers here that want to hear from you, we're gonna, you're gonna get to riff for a little bit if you'd like. So, if that's good by you, we'll keep going.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
so real quick, yeah, if you just real quick, I'm gonna jump off. But if you want to come and chat, the modern day debate Discord, pretty lively. There's people pretty much every day chatting about all sorts of different stuff. So you should jump on and just check out what's going on there.
Awesome. Yeah, I hang out in there too. So thanks, Malachi, for being here, and we'll see you next time, man. Cheers, buddy.
All right, brother.
Alrighty. Now I'll just fix this up here so nobody's looking at the tops of our head. All right, Austin. Thanks for hanging out with me and finishing up the live chat questions here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can try to move through them fairly quickly here if you want me to kind of put you like on a minute, let you riff for a minute there, and then we'll kind of get through them. So Tim Pryor, $5. Ask Austin if he's ever going to give refutable flat earth evidence or if he's going to keep talking about the globe and NASA.
Yeah. Refutable flat earth evidence. Just give physical empirical measurement of earth curvature. Everything that you do that apparently does that is the assumption that the earth is a sphere, which is weird, and it changes. And yeah, so we have physical empirical measurements that show the earth is flat, and We have line of sight horizontal propagation that shows the Earth is flat. So if we falsify the radius value of the globe, which we have, that falsifies the entire model, which is what I was hoping to talk to him about, but we never really got to it. So there you go.
All right, let's continue on. Mojama Jek. That's right on the cuspus. 999. Witsit. When citing logical fallacies such as poisoning the well, intent matters. If you would stop assuming the worst intentions from people, you would have a lot more productive conversations.
So basically,
Kinda
what
coming at
that
ya.
super chat is saying is that I shouldn't call out the fallacies and assume that their intention is to not be fallacious. Whether or not they intend to be fallacious doesn't matter. They're being fallacious. And when you use something like poisoning the well, you are specifically intending to discredit the opponent by trying to paint a picture that they're crazy. Austin thinks there were giants. Austin thinks the Illuminati exists. Austin thinks that the air is not going to kill him. And so when you jeopardize the person's credibility by, preemptively discrediting them or painting a picture, it's called poisoning the well. Yeah, I call out fallacies because it's a huge block to productive conversation, thus intellectual conclusion. I would love to never have to call out a fallacy. In fact, I maybe called out 5% of them this debate. So it's an unfortunate sequence of events that occurs.
All right, excellent. Thanks for answering that question there. Let's continue on. So Alexander L, $1.99. Thank you so much. Witsit is lying. You can explore Antarctica. They're coming at you again there, Austin.
Yeah, but that's just objectively not true. So I just did a stream on my channel called Antarctica, and we go through all the legal legislation and stipulations about traveling there, and you have to give them 3 months in advance notice to get your journey approved. You also have to go through a 180-day advance approval process as well, separately. They can choose to deny you for any reason. You're not allowed to go to the middle of the continent. So that's not even allowed for the permit. Whenever you go through the environmental protection approval, it can cost anywhere from $250,000 to $2 million. This is all documented. I provide all the links on my YouTube. It's easily verifiable. You cannot privately and freely explore Antarctica. That's a fact. You're not allowed to go to the center of Antarctica. That's a fact. You can't bring water supply or fuel supply, and you can't go where you want to. You can go to 1 or 2 little areas on an approved guided tour. So that's highly suspect. When people don't approach that subject honestly, I'm pretty sketched out. I find that suspect.
All right, well, let's continue on. So Truth Seeker 999. It's like somebody's here just responding to you in a certain sense with these super chats. There are Arctic expeditions all the time. It has even been crossed solo. Saying nobody is allowed to explore there is a lie. Oh,
Yeah, but that's just a claim, right? So to verify that you go to the actual north, you would just easily make a 90-degree zenith observation of Polaris. That doesn't exist. It's 2023, and a zenith observation of Polaris doesn't exist. So in reality, what they say, despite what this guy just basically asserted in Super Chat, is that it's way too dangerous to go across the actual geographic North Pole, and that there's not enough weapon or tower systems and relay systems to be able to properly save someone. Say something happened, it's way too dangerous, and because of geopolitical concerns of the surrounding countries like Russia and America, right there, surrounded by the North or surrounding the North, it's basically a no-fly zone. And in Tholes in northern England, northern Greenland, we have an Air Force base specifically monitoring activity there. So I think that's also weird that people have to misrepresent that you can't go there.
Alrighty. Let's continue on there. And Iron Horse, I do think that I may have gotten that question, or I think that I asked one that was close enough that I kind of ticked off the 2 boxes there just because Malachi was on a bit of a time crunch. So if you go back about, 20 minutes from now, I think he may have a slew of him answering questions there, and you'll find what his response was. But of course, you can always hit him up in the Discord there. He did drop his Discord there when before he left. So let's continue on. Kango 44, $11. Witsit, during this debate, due to my internet connection, the streaming compression made it look like your hand went through your microphone. You're fake. You're CG. Is that true, Austin? Are you real?
He just lied though. Never ever did that dude look at this stream and see my hand go through a microphone. He just said that. Okay, but you can say it's because of transmission. That's a cool story. Does transmission make an astronaut slowly fade away frame by frame? No, it doesn't. And if you show me someone putting their hand through a microphone because of a glitch, that'd be cool. I can understand that you say that, but there's all kinds of stuff that can't be explained with simple transmissions, like the astronaut fading away, the astronaut grabbing something that's not there. And I could easily just show them. So whatever. Some people will research it. Some people will not. What can you do?
All right, let's continue on there. Truth Seeker 1999. I will believe Flat Earth the moment they provide a better predictive model than the current heliocentric globe model. That's all they need to do.
The globe doesn't predict anything. You couldn't name one single thing that the globe predicts. Everything that people claim are globe predictions are actually post predictions. We made the observations. We made the model based on the observations that are reoccurring, like the sky, where the stars go, the eclipses, the Saros cycle. All of this is a reoccurring cycle. That's how we made the globe. Literally, the way we made the current globe model of the Earth was by looking at the sky and making the model. So if the model matches the sky, that isn't a prediction. That's how it was made. The globe makes no predictions. In fact, some of the predictions that it does make, they never work. For example, the redshift anomalies, or the supposed motion through space, or the geodynamo discrepancies, or the South Atlantic anomaly, or the dispersion of the magnetic field, or the asymmetrical nature of the magnetic field, blah, 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 blah. The surface anomalies of seismology propagation, right? All kinds of things. Arrival discrepancies of seismology. There's all kinds of things that the globe makes a prediction about and doesn't work. We can make all kinds of predictions on a flat Earth. The Earth's not going to move. I can shoot radio transmission super far horizontally because there's nothing blocking it because the Earth is flat. Unless there's topographical obstruction, I can just send it out over bodies of water easily. Oh, look at that. That happens. So flat Earth predictions happen all the time. Saying that the sky is going to do something is not a prediction. Flat Earth can answer every single one of those quote unquote predictions as well. This is basic logic stuff. This is what's so weird.
All right, well, let's continue on. Alexander L, $1.99. Witsit, prove you measured the curve of the Earth.
Yeah. So we tested the curve of the Earth with things like long distance mirror flashes. So if you don't know how that works, you have a mirror. The light from the sun is going to hit the mirror, and then you see a flash. The military uses this so that they can identify different people at long distances, right? Like you can let someone know your position covertly because no one else can see it unless you're in a direct line of sight with the person with the mirror. So I could be like, hey, look, I'm 20 miles across the lake to my fellow person in the military, and no one will know, right? Because you have to be a directly line of sight to see it, because that light has to reflect at just the right angle so that you can see the flash. That's why they flash on and off, right? Because as the angle changes. So we can do this over many, many miles on the ground. You can literally put a mirror on the ground and shine it. There should be 100 feet of curvature of Earth blocking it. And you can see it across the lake over and over every time, pretty much. Just boom. And it requires line of sight. You have to see the reflection. So we've tested, that's one of many ways. So we tested if there's curvature. The way we physically measure it is plane survey. That's what all maps are used. That's what all maps use. That's what all engineering uses. Plane survey data. That's how we measure the Earth, literally. That's the only way that we measure the Earth.
All right, well, let's continue on. BeamZ, $5. For Witsit, you claim that electrostatics explains everything, but how does a charge at rest create a force?
So there is no such thing as truly at rest when it comes to charge, right? Sure, it's called electrostatic because it's not in like quantifiable motion. It stays in the same volume right? But it's vibrating, has vibrational resonance. It's in flux. It's never truly at rest. What the force is generated from the electrostatic transference or induction of the medium and the object. Of course, the object itself is held together by electrostatics, so that gives you compactness of matter. Okay, I'm going to take 20 seconds. So you have density, compactness of matter, i.e., how tightly the matter is held together. That's what density is, which means the cause of density is whatever holds the matter together with a certain compactness. That's electrostatics. Electrostatics, all molecular and intermolecular attractive forces are electrostatic in nature. That's what holds the matter together. The reaction between that object and the medium is what causes it to go up or down. Intrinsically electrostatic. Downward electric current on the Earth also sets the downward bias. This explains all things, results in a buoyant force when it comes to the density relationship. Everything's intrinsically electrostatic. 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity's claimed to be. So there's the answer. Pretty simple.
All right, thanks for that, Austin. Let's carry on. Earth first, space later. $5. Austin can explain how fluid statics and gas pressure, natural laws, prove a globe is impossible.
Yeah. Okay. So for one, fluid statics is water is level. Water at rest is level, finds its level, right? So fluid dynamics is simply the process of water or fluid trying to find its equilibrium or its level state. So fluid statics is water at rest is level, and they say level is curved, but no, in reality, level is flat and horizontal. Now, yeah, of course, you could say equidistant above a certain convexity would be quote unquote level because it's all equal distance above. Full story, bro. Water lays flat at rest, fluid statics. And then you were saying something to the effect of basically like gas pressure. So yeah, the gas pressure would seek equilibrium. Entropy will increase. Second law of thermodynamics. Everything is constantly in a process of seeking equilibrium, and gas pressure would fill the available space. Therefore, sitting adjacent to a vacuum is insane. And gradients just begs the question of X with delta X, which is gas pressure and change in gas pressure. So I hope I answered that.
All right. Sure thing. Let's continue on. Simon Allen, €5. Just love modern day debate. Thank you, Simon Allen. We love you too. Make sure, everybody, that you give us some love and hit that like button. And also, even more importantly, share this out. You got a contentious space. You like to have juicy debates. Put this there. See what people think. We're all about getting that, getting outreach and, meeting new people, having new people in the chat. That's great. So we love you too. Emma Bronco, €2. Hey, once again, we're sticking with the euros. Get Witsit to show NASA videos.
Okay. Can I use my 1 minute just to show a video?
I mean, sure. We can do that for just 1 minute.
All right, cool. 1 minute. Let's do it.
All right, here you go, Super Chatter. He's ready. He's ready to go.
Look at that. What is that dude doing? What is that? We got 1 whole minute. Look at this. This is an attorney in NASA time. Okay, this hat's not really here. This is virtual reality. This guy thinks, he thought he was about to hand him the hat. But his virtual reality, look how he's looking forward, which is what you do when you look at the screen to know where the object is. He thinks he's about to hand him the hat. Watch. So he goes to hand him the hat, but their timing's off. He puts down a hat that's not even there. What is this dude doing? What is he doing? He's literally grabbing a fake object, switching hands and setting it down because they use virtual reality. That's the way that it works. So that's just one of a million examples of what they do in space. And just so you know, they admit to doing this one. Object pops out of nowhere. Boom. Then she grabs it. Well, it looks like she's holding an object that's floating, doesn't it? They admitted that this was fake, which shows that lifetime that they've been practicing how to fake objects in virtual reality that look like they're floating and look like the astronauts grabbing it. They did this for children and admittedly faked it. Okay, there we go.
All right. Well, I think our live audience will appreciate the fact that you had the videos ready to go. So that was cool.
Yep.
No time wasted there. Let's continue on. Eric Arpelding, $5. Witsit GPS uses a system of satellites orbiting the Earth in 12-hour orbits. According to you, how does GPS work?
We use a lot of ground transmissions for majority of triangulation, we use like tower triangulation. People love to act like satellites are used for everything, and they're not. But we also have satelloons, tons of satelloons in the sky that so admittedly, thousands of them sit up every day that triangulate signals. Admittedly, also, that's how Google did the Google Loon project to get internet out. In addition to that, I think that they can easily put things in the sky. And when you look at it, they follow the torus field with ellipsis. So yeah, I just think they put an object up there, and I don't know what the medium is. That would be interesting. And they use maybe magnetic levitation or quantum locking to lock these objects in. The person that receives the data simply interprets it through a transposed globe. Pretty simple. Put it on the AE projection, which is not entirely accurate, I don't think, but it's very close. There you go. You see that they're just doing Flower of Life over top of the Earth.
Alrighty. Thank you for that. Coconut cream pie, $5. Can the flat Earth model predict a simple 7-day forecast for the weather? The round Earth model can do it, not perfectly, as no models are perfect. So, yeah, the question is, can the flat Earth model predict a simple 7-day forecast for the weather?
All right, bro. I want to use my minute for a share screen again. This is the weather on a flat Earth. Yeah. So these are the wind patterns. They're very predictable. The wind patterns are predictable. We use meteorological data compiled from all kinds of satelloons and different objects in the sky, and we compile forecasts that are consistently not completely accurate, but it works the same on a flat Earth, only more coherently than on a globe where everything's just chaotic and there are little spots everywhere that makes no sense, and the south is completely not symmetrical to the north, as opposed to the flat Earth where it makes perfect sense, which is why they took this projection down from the original website once people started looking into it. So weather prediction is super easy on a plain Earth. I don't even know what that question is supposed to be talking about. So.
All right.
Cool.
Gotcha. Let's continue on here. So, coconut cream pie strikes again for $5. And don't dodge and say meteorologists use weather balloons, therefore they use a flat Earth model. They use Doppler radio mainly.
Yeah. Doppler radio works on a plane Earth. Actually, it sends it out assuming horizontal propagation over a plane Earth. So we just answered that one pretty in depth. Yeah, meteorological predictions work on a flat Earth, believe it or not.
All right. And thanks again, Austin, for being here. We still got quite a few super chats to go through here. So I hope you're having fun answering these questions.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll try to keep them concise.
Well, I mean, I think you've been doing great. We still have a lot of people that are here for it. So we may as well keep giving the people what they want. So Alexander L, $1.99. Augmented reality does not translate to video.
Yeah, it does. Actually, I just explained that NASA admittedly has a contract with a company that can live time transpose augmented reality. Admittedly, I don't have that pulled up because that's somewhere in a PDF, but admittedly, the contract showed that. In fact, don't you worry, stay tuned. We just started up Audit NASA, so auditnasa.com, and we will be showing substantially and empirically that they have these contracts, that they won't answer the questions about the contracts, or we're going to get official statements about the contracts and the other fakery going on. So auditnasa.com.
All righty. You heard it here, people. So let's continue on. Kango, 44, $11. Thanks again for your super chat. Question for Witsit. Given a 5-kilogram ball 2 meters from the ground with a 10 Newton force applied, tell me where it lands. High school kids can do this.
Tell me where it lands. Lands on the ground. Yeah. 9.8 meters per second squared isn't some impressive feat that somehow proves an interpretation of gravity, bro. Why do people not understand this? Little g, 9.8 meters per second squared, is downward acceleration. It's an average of how quick things fall when you drop them, right? We label that little g. Okay? That is just the effects that things fall down. The question that you're trying to answer is what causes it? Well, that's a great question. I've given you scientific answers that can be tested empirically with experiments, and the current globe model or in current paradigm says we don't even know what gravity is. So you can use a kinematic equation with initial velocity and height and time to calculate for 9.8 meters per second squared fluctuates. It's not literally a universal constant. Can easily be determined without the presupposed idea of gravity. Understanding everything's electrostatic and there's a downward electric bias, and then things separate based on density. You'll consistently know exactly where the object's going to go. Once it goes down at roughly the same average, because everything's intrinsically electrostatic. It's pretty simple stuff.
All right. Joshua Scheffler, $10. Witsit gets it. How do you explain natural phenomena like volcanoes? Also, if I drill a hole through the flat Earth, would our atmosphere be sucked out?
So I don't know what's below the flat Earth. From my understanding, we're on what's called a block domain wall, or a plane of inertia, an inertial plane, because all magnetic fields have one, called a block domain wall, because people get triggered about inertial plane. But inertia means unchanging, so it's a plane of inertia. It's an unchanging plane. That's just a scientifically accurate terminology, but who cares about that? So block domain wall in the magnetic field, we seem to exist within that, specifically on the top level of that. So what would be below that? As above, so below seems to have truth to it. Physically, in terms of physics, you're the magnetic field, you're in the middle, you see the top, the below would be you. What would happen if you could get through something that's not materially accessible? Great question. I don't know, because you can't do that. Can you remind me what the first part of the question was? I forgot.
Can you explain natural phenomena like volcanoes?
Oh, yeah. Volcanoes aren't even fully explained in like the highest levels of academia in 2023 from the globe paradigm or any paradigm, but everything inside the Earth is intrinsically electromagnetic, and that would be the actual primary causal agent of things like volcanoes and earthquakes. There's just electrical discharge inside the Earth, and once it seeks equilibrium and discharges the excess charge, it vibrates. That's what it does. So it's electrical discharge. Everything's electromagnetic, including the causal agent for volcanoes, as far as I can tell. And I will throw the stamp that that's me trying to figure it out speculatively, because I want to be intellectually honest. I don't know. I've never been down into the Earth to see what's happening. So there's that.
All right, gotcha. Run Boston Bear, 1999. The Earth is a stationary topographical plane. Don't make it weird. It takes some time to research this. The truth of our realm is heavily censored. I think that was towards Malachi, but they sound like they're in agreement. But did you have any thoughts on that?
No, yeah, just look into it. I mean, Flat Earth is about to get past the point of being able to censor it, so you guys might want to socially prepare.
All right, and you'd better be prepared as well, Austin, because Tim Pryor has a lot of questions for you. And,
I bet he does.
Yeah, we got a lot of them here. So
he's a fan.
Thank you, Tim Pryor, for all your super chats here and all your awesome support here. We're gonna get into these super chats. Yeah, I was gonna say there's quite a few of them. So you got any more? We'll keep answering them as far as that goes. So if Austin's good for it. Tim Pryor, $10. Sorry, but basic physics disproves flat Earth. There is no physicist that agrees with you. I've literally watched people with physics degrees tell you you're wrong. You're a liar. Ooh.
I know many people with physics degrees that specifically do agree with me. What are you talking about? Like Michael Brenner's one. There's many. I'm not going to say a bunch of people's names, and the fact that you have to come on the internet and claim that no one that has a physics degree agrees that the Earth is a plane is really weird. It's like co-parter, bro. Like, it's super suspect. Yeah, I go toe to toe with the best of the physicists. Bring them on. Most of them are scared to debate me on record, frankly, and I'm a very respectful person. When they come on my channel, I let them finish. I have respectful conversation with them. I'm friendly. Simply, flat Earth's not as stupid as people want to act like it is. So sometimes physicists got to get dunked on. Anyway, vague and void of substantive specificity. Just keep chanting. It's not going to convince anyone that's honest.
Well, I think that's something we can all get on board with. You heard it here first, everybody. Austin lets people finish, and that is a good quality for anybody. Let's continue on. That's my one inappropriate joke of the evening. All right, so
That's right.
awesome. Experiments in prebiotic chemistry, $10. What does the government have to gain by promoting the idea that the Earth is a globe? I think Yeah, we already asked this one, but they asked it again because I think they might have been worried that I didn't ask it. So if you had any other thoughts about like what incentive there is for the government to lie about the globe Earth, you can expound on that now. But if not, we can keep going on.
Yeah, real quickly, just decentivizes exploration, could potentially hide land resources, and hides the true nature of this place being special, seemingly, if it's in the center of everything. So yeah, why would powerful people want to make sure that the slave population can't leave a circle danger around them? I can't think of any reasons powerful people would want to do that. Like, go watch the Hunger Games or something, man. Like, it's a weird question to me.
Alrighty, let's continue on. Paul Bransfield, $5. That's what a spokesman from NASA said about the technology that was destroyed. So flat earthers should stop using that talking point.
That's literally why we use it. We like, it's a hostile. We point out that NASA said they destroyed the technology to go to the moon. It's a difficult process to rebuild it back. That's why they haven't been back. We just pointed out. What are you talking about? They're the ones that claim to go to the moon. So we're telling you what they said about it. You should stop speaking truth. That's weird.
All right, well, let's continue. Cool Lambo, $2. Flat Earth isn't real. They're all paid actors. Well, they're coming at you.
Wait, I missed it.
They're accusing you of being a paid actor, Austin.
Yikes. Yo, well, someone needs to talk to whoever's employing me that I never had a conversation with, because my pay sucks. This completely hurts every aspect of my finances, and I devote tons of time to it just to try to wake people up. So, yeah, I mean, that's weird. You're the conspiracy theorist now. But anyway, I just try to speak the truth, man. I'm wrong about things sometimes, no doubt, but we're supposed to speak the truth. If you feel convicted about something, you're supposed to speak it.
Well, that's yeah. Well, we'll summarize. If anybody in the live chat has money, send it our way. All right. So, moving on. Witsit, what's the update on Better Than Mage 2 experiment? That's from Jay for $4.99.
I don't know anything about it. I know that's where they do put a string on a fisheye lens and told us that it wasn't a fisheye lens, but it still imposed curvature and said, this doesn't impose curvature. I swear it's the first camera ever that doesn't. And he just didn't get his Nobel Prize or something. So I don't know about the follow-up. I haven't heard. I don't keep up with anti-flat earthers. I find them to be a very weird, anomalous group of people. No disrespect, but if I thought flat earth was insane, the last thing I'd do is like obsessively try to like gaslight that group of people and prove it wrong. But to each their own, everyone has their hobbies. I'm unfamiliar with the process or progress of said test.
All right, gotcha. So, Tim Pryor strikes again, $5. Funny, again, Austin could only talk about the globe and NASA, gave zero evidence for flat Earth. Couldn't even talk about it at all. Shocking.
What's funny, bro, is like I called that out. It's like there's no way to avoid that comment right there. There's no way. It'll be in the comments too. There's literally nothing, bro, like that can be said. In my presentation, I'm like, look, here's the positive claim of the globe. But wait, isn't it saying the Earth's flat's positive claim? Yes, we also have the burden of proof to support that. Here's the positive evidence. And I said, they're going to claim that no positive evidence was presented. They're going to say it every single time, right? If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? If you have physical evidence that shows there's no curvature to the surface of the Earth, then what would the surface of the Earth be? Not curving, i.e. flat. So how would you suggest that we test and provide evidence of the Earth being flat? Making physical empirical measurements of the Earth being flat with plane survey for all blueprints of engineering for bridges, canals, railways. Would that count? Or long distance lasers or long distance radio transmissions or microwave transmissions? The truth is, it's just a talking point. If I asked you, if I offered you money right now, but you had to publicly say it, what would you consider evidence of a flat Earth? They couldn't give anything. So it's just a talking point. We did provide physical evidence. And if the evidence refutes or falsifies the claim of the globe Earth that the surface of the Earth is curving, that means it's flat. If the surface isn't curving, it's flat. So all empirical evidence shows that the Earth is flat. All empirical use cases for technology shows the Earth is flat. If you want to believe something weird, like everything's the opposite of that, you need to substantiate it. So
All right. So I don't mind if you want to, where we're getting close to the end of the super chats. We got a few more to go. I mean, if any more pop in, that's great. But if you feel like riffing a bit more, I don't mind at all. It's at your discretion.
I say we finish it up, bro.
All right. I was going to say, all right, we'll keep it down to about a minute then. Tim Pryor, $10. Another lie. I've seen people with physics degree give you the math proving you're wrong. We're going around the sun. You just deny it. They did not concede. That's a lie.
Yeah. So this is what's so unfortunate about like an environment like this, right? Someone can send a super chat like that and just lie. And like, what can you do? If you say a lie convincingly enough, it's like, oh man, you got him. Oh, which is lying. No, I'm not lying. It's recorded. Thousands of people have seen it and they can go watch it. But you can come here, spend $10 and just lie. And I think that's kind of sad, bro. I think that's probably bad for your health. It shows cell degradation when you're in a state of anxiety, which is what lying does. But I wish you the best. Anyway, every time I ask a physicist for physical empirical evidence that's exclusive to the earth moving around the sun, they never have anything. No one showed me math that proves anything. I showed them that there's a kinematic and dynamic equivalence between a geocentric and heliocentric model, according to either Einstein or Newtonian mechanics, neither of which I believe, but I grant them. I have actual astrophysicists conceding to me that yes, there's a dynamic and kinematic equivalence. If you understood Einstein and the covariance and equivalence principle, you would never even suggest such a thing. So you're just making that up. It's weird that you do that. But long story short, all physicists and astronomers that I asked that question have no evidence that's exclusive to the earth moving around the sun. And that's a fact. You'll may be surprised to hear that and assume that that's not true. Well, you should research it. If you want some evidence for it, go to my channel. I provide my Telegram that has all the links and papers.
All right, thanks for that, Austin. And just remind everybody in the live chat, if you do want your question asked, we do require them to be a super chat, at least at this point of the game, because it is getting pretty late. So Forte, we got another spicy one. Do you want me just to read it the way it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin's good for it. See, he's a good sport. Forte, I like Witsit's hustle, legally making money from lying to idiots. Maybe he could apply for a church tax exempt status and go pro.
Nice. That was kind of funny.
I mean,
a little better delivery next time, but it was all right. You got your jab in at churches, I guess, but yeah, I already covered that.
I was the one delivering it, so maybe it was me reading it.
I mean, even the format itself was lacking, but it was okay. It was all right. It was pretty funny. I covered that. It's weird narrative to paint. What they first said, bro, was that I was stupid, and then they're like, "Oh wow, this guy's actually pretty read up and informed on some of this stuff, and he can articulate it." So, well, now he's a liar, grifter, con man that's just trying to get money from people. But in reality, that's also not true. And I explained it like this has been detrimental to my finances. I trust what's right, and I would say that epitomizes is a creative force, the creator, and I know that's Yah, and he's gonna protect me and provide for me and my family if I do what's right, no matter what happens, and that's what I truly believe. Now you can think that's crazy, but that's reality. The reality is that's how I live my life. I take the sacrifices required to speak truth that I feel convicted about, even when it's financially detrimental. And I think you should do the same thing. I think a lot of people lie for money, and that's probably not good for them. And maybe you're projecting it onto me because you would be dishonest for money. Long story short, Flat Earth is not very financially beneficial. Common sense would tell you this. You're censored off of everything. I could go on the internet, start a podcast about aliens, get millions of subscribers, and actually make lots of money lying to people. That would work, but I didn't do that. I spoke about what I discovered when I tested the earth myself, and it cost me a job and lots of money. So anyway, teach their own. Keep saying it if you want to.
All right, Tim Pryor's again here, $20. Thanks for proving my point. Asked for a flat earth evidence. Then you talked about globe again, saying no curvature. Then said earth is measurably flat without giving measurements. Congratulations.
It's getting redundant, but Plain Survey is actually flat Earth measurements. We do plane surveying as if the Earth is flat. Literally, go Google it. What the globe says is, well, yeah, but it would be the same on the globe because it looks like it's flat for local regions and it's close enough. Okay, so all physical measurements in the real world, you have to treat the Earth like it's flat. And actually, it's not the same up to, what is it, 200 square miles or 100 square miles. So over 10 miles, a flat Earth and a ball Earth aren't the same. Okay, and we measure the Earth like it's a plane. You drop a vertical plumb line, you measure horizontal to that, that's perpendicular. That's how we establish sea level, extending adjacent to land masses to get elevation. Everything that we do, the physical measurements are flat Earth measurements physically. The globe claims, oh, well, we can stitch those together. It's close enough because you're so big, and then we'll make a globe out of it. So that's weird to me that you keep saying that, but the truth is only for those looking for it.
All right. Tim Pryor, $5 again. I warned you there was going to be some Tim Pryor here.
Yeah.
Point is, you can book trips to Antarctica, which you agree to, so anyone can witness the 24-hour sun, which you guys say does not exist. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. So first of all, to say you wanted to book one, which you can, of course, book a tour. A family member have done it, but it's very expensive. Dude. Like 20 grand for 2 people is what it costs them. And you can go look it up. It ranges from 8 to 30, 40 grand per person to go on a tour to Antarctica. You go where they allow you to. They didn't even let them get off the boat, and you're only there for a few days. I know someone that was stationed in Antarctica for NASA for 6 months and said, you 100% do not see the sun in the sky for 24 hours. So he's a flat earther that used to work for NASA and was stationed in Antarctica. This is a real life person. His identity is verifiable, as is his credentials and his work experience. Worked for NASA, stationed in Antarctica. Flat earther said you don't see the sun in the sky for 24 hours. So I would love to see someone go show me the evidence of that. That's just a talking point that you guys make. Show me someone that went on a tour to Antarctica, jumped off the boat, and taped the sun for 24 hours in the sky. You won't find that. You can only go where they let you go. And if the Earth's a ball, in conclusion, if the Earth's a ball, the way you guys do stuff like that, like misrepresent it, you're making more flat earthers. So if you really think the Earth is a globe, I wouldn't do that. Like lying about basic things makes flat earthers. I don't think you guys get that for some reason.
All right. Tim Pryor again, $10. The astronauts were wearing blue and green shirts. You cannot wear blue or green using blue or green screens with those colors. Austin debunked himself.
Wow. So you can use blue and green shirts if you know how to properly apply the chroma keys with different shades. So you don't know what you're talking about. And in addition to that, you can layer without a blue or green screen. Yes, you didn't know that, which you can just get on TikTok and know that. So that's weird. In addition to that, some of the people that have been wearing blue shirts in some of their videos were actually caught where their shirt gets see-through, which is hilarious. NASA astronauts wearing blue shirts, their shirt gets see-through. That's probably why they don't use blue and green screens all the time. And that's not even the green screen green at all. So I think it's weird that you didn't think about that question, but it's okay. What's super funny is that out of the video where the guy went and grabbed a hat that wasn't there and then handed it to his other hand and sat it down, you came back with, he was wearing a blue shirt. So it's like, it's Cogdis, bro, but it's all good. I still love you.
Alrighty. Nominal member for 6 months. Thank you so much for the membership. $20. Globers get stuck on the first 2.5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Since you paid 20, I did read it, but we don't really need to respond to that because it's not really a question, is it? Austin, do you have any response to somebody saying such a thing, or just move on?
No, I mean, I can kind of agree, but we shouldn't lump entire groups of people, and some people are just working through it. But yeah, don't be angry and mad at people. Okay.
Alrighty. From Jay for $4.99. Witsit, why don't you write a paper with your hypothesis and include your math? This is the way the scientific community does it, and for good reason.
Yeah. So I actually do plan on writing a couple papers specific to how gravity, as is currently interpreted, is obviously nonsense, and it's just electromagnetic reciprocation within an etheric vibrational resonance, and energy is really etheric vibrational displacement. So the electromagnetic nature of gravity, but it won't get published. I know of people, well accredited astronomers of years, who tried to get a geocentric paper published once they looked at the cosmic microwave background test, and they were like, whoa, why is the Earth in the center? You know, it's weird that it's supposed to be isotropic, but it's anisotropic, and it intersects on the Earth out of the whole universe. Doesn't match the Big Bang. And it shows that the Earth's in the center. Wrote a paper about geocentrism. It got approved. But then the second one he wrote, all the math in it, fully perfect, bulletproof, they just denied it. So they denied a well-accredited astronomer saying the Earth's geocentric in a paper with all the math. You think that I'm going to post a paper about flat Earth without the decade of credentials of being an astronomer, and it's going to get published? Just a talking point. I do plan on writing the paper and trying to get it through with someone else that I know on the inside, but you shouldn't need to appeal to like the peer review process that only approves approved ideas. And this is a well-known problem with the peer review process in modern academia. There are actual peer-reviewed processes that have tested and proven that. So.
All right. Still some more super chats pouring in here. So sorry to keep you, Witsit. I hope you're having a good time responding to our live chat here. You know, lots of people have a lot to ask you here. So, you know, our live chat thinks you're a pretty interesting fella. So that's a good sign. So let's keep them rolling here. Tim Pryor. They did too. They give you the evidence. You deny it. Again, you're lying, but I can't simply log off and make you disappear. You have to deal with glow people every day. Have fun, ding dong, they say. Well, Tim.
Yeah. Well, then log off. Why would you spend like hundreds of dollars?
Mature. Well, but either way, I mean,
he spends a lot of money. He did it. He actually spent like $250 on my stream, like just to do that. It was funny, but yeah, you once again didn't say anything specific. You'll never say like what they did specifically, because I have all the receipts on my channel. So you're just hoping that people will never go fact check what you say, and that they'll just kind of be like, oh yeah, he showed him. So that's why I'm kind of chill with that. I accept stuff like that. That's inevitable. People can say convincing lies without specificity, but just go check out the receipts, bro. Like, no one's provided me empirical evidence that the Earth is geocentric. I could name all the ones they supposedly said right now and how they conceded it wasn't that, but I'm not going to take up the whole show. So we can move on. You can check it out on my channel if you want to.
All right, let's continue on. Yeah, alrighty. So J499, what's it? I've seen someone explain to you that London Underground took into account the curvature of the Earth. Stop lying, says Jay.
You've seen someone explain that? I don't recall that happening, but no, nothing built takes into account the curvature of the Earth, other than assuming that you can do straight line segments in small sections, and that you can treat it as if it's horizontal and it'll naturally curve around the Earth. In order to do something like that, you would have to specifically say, do the horizontal line segments and then build a higher elevation on both sides, because the Earth is curving. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I have to look into what you're saying, but obviously the way we build things is they assume the Earth's horizontal with straight line segments, and say that as you compile those over great distances, it naturally contours and conforms to the curve of the Earth because of gravity, which is super convenient. Yeah, build everything like the Earth's flat, and I promise it's not flat.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Austin. Eric Arpelding, $5. Witsit, how much electrostatic charge does an object have to have for it to weigh 1 pound?
Yeah, so it's dependent upon the electrostatics and the matter itself and the medium that it's in. So mass, weight, density are all intrinsically electrostatic. Things will go down when they're more dense in the air. You can manipulate this with electrostatic induction or transference, but objects, their weight is actually the fact, just merely the acknowledgement of the fact that it goes down, right? Which is what we call little g. And then what we call mass, that's the quantification of matter. Well, matter's held together by electrostatics. So I do, in fact, hold that there's a mass charge equivalence. But that's a much more complex explanation. And if I say it right now real quickly, you'll say it's word salad. Like I'll prove that that's what you'll do. The fundamental physical constant of all things is an elementary charge, although I don't believe in particle physics as is currently understood. If you were to apply that, the fundamental physical constant of all things is an elementary charge. All of these quote unquote particles, that's what holds the actual matter together. That's the physical constant across the board. So that's the causal agent of the mass. Multiply that by how fast things fall on average. You get what we call weight, which is pressure down over a certain area. For example, on a scale, things go down because of the density relationship, which is all because of the electrostatics, and you can manipulate it with that electrostatic induction relationship. Okay, slow it down.
Alrighty. So Jay, 499. You said you were working on remaking the Mage 2 experiment and making it better to prove the Earth was flat. What happened? Prove it was round?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, we're putting up a balloon. When I say we, it's like Iru from Glowbusters, like my homie. Putting up a balloon 30 to 33,000 feet with infrared camera and a separate camera to view the stars as we go up, and infrared to view the land. No, we had a bit of an issue with the helium supply and stuff like that, and so it's being ironed out, still going up. So yeah, we're going to go up there and see way too far in infrared, and then all the ballers will just scream a word called refraction without even comprehending what that means, and we'll just move on. So yeah, it's still in the process. It should go up any day now.
Alrighty. Tim Pryor, $10. Dude, I've literally witnessed the 24-hour sun. Went in college, so just stop. My last super chat. Again, you talked about the globe. Thanks for proving my point.
So I'm just going to call hard BS if this dude's claiming he went to Antarctica and saw the 24-hour sun, when I know people that were stationed there for 6 months, and the only footage is chopped up. Now, if he's claiming he went to the north and saw a 24-hour sun, yeah, absolutely. I 100% believe that. We have tons of footage of that. It's verifiable. Tons of people can go do it all the time. We know that happens. Sun can be seen in the sky for 24 hours in the north, which works on a flat earth and makes perfect sense because the sun moves around us in a circle. So sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't believe you're talking about the south. If you're talking about the north, yeah, of course, we don't deny that. And you didn't know that works on a flat earth. So cool.
Alrighty. Jay for $4.99, last super chat. Witsit, don't bother getting your paper published. Let the internet have at it. We want to see it. It'll be more productive than debates.
It's not a terrible idea, which is why I said I am looking into it. I know that whenever you say let the internet get at it, what will actually happen is gross hand wave dismissal. There will be no rebuttal. You can't even rebut no one specific, but like the mass charge equivalence aspect, or that there's free space impedance of 377 ohms, and that there's an electric and magnetic permeability and permittivity, specifically electric permittivity, magnetic permeability in a vacuum. There's impedance in a vacuum, which means a vacuum's not empty in very simple terms. We know that there's an electric constant there, and we can have wireless power induction in that vacuum. Thus, whatever we attribute to gravity must intrinsically be tied to that because it's always there. So there's always impedance, and the truth is that there's just reaction and there's action and reaction within this etheric background. Everything's intrinsically electromagnetic, and you guys get it. I could write a paper. I plan on it just because whatever happens to me, I know that I threw it out into the ether, and hopefully and kind will at some point progress. I'm not claiming to be some genius. I just find it very sad to have to sit back and watch physics be so stagnant because people, I don't know, man, they're scared to step out. They're scared to lose their job. They're scared to lose their profession. And that should show you, that's one of the great things I would want to really point out here. That should really make you wonder why in 2023 scientists have to watch what they say about what their interpretation of reality is, even when the current theories don't work, or they may get ostracized, called a quack, and maybe even fired or no longer be considered employable. That's called a religion. That's why we're so stagnant in both quantum and cosmology, because people can't actually challenge the status quo, which is stupid.
Well, I'm so sorry, Austin. I said that was the last super chat, but Tim
Prior
Pryor,
popped up.
yeah, he wanted to make a liar out of me. Tim Pryor made a liar out of me. Well, I'll have to write a song about it, which I might play a little outro on this one, just because the only place I actually have the theme song is through my guitar pedal board right now. I have to do a proper export, so let's continue on. Tim Pryor, $5. Live debates that you've been on. You've literally been shown wrong countless times, and you can't stop talking about the globe or NASA.
Yeah. So every one of his comments are the same as like they were like really vague. You know, like I could just send a super chat right now and imitate you. We could save time, right? Like every time you talk to someone, you're proven wrong. All the physicists showed you wrong. Why are you lying? Find a flat earther that's made any technology. You can go to Antarctica. Why are you lying? These are like really remedial, stupid. Like, dude, you can't say anything specific because you know I'll dunk on it. That's why you have to keep it vague. It's the safe space, and I get that. It's all good. We were all told that the Earth's a globe. I covered this in my presentation, and I think I do a 10-minute presentation that I actually put all that energy into to say to you guys. And there's so many people, they don't even hear it, bro. Like they check out. There's something that happens. There's a wall where they don't even like hear and listen to what I'm saying. It's crazy. I covered that, bro. We were told the Earth's a globe. We were all given that positive claim. We went out and tested it. It's not true. Falsification of the globe via the fact that the Earth isn't curving means that the Earth is a plane. Okay. If we want to continue forward to figure out what exactly it is, we need people to actually understand that fact and come together around it. So, anyway, yeah, again, if the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it?
All right. One more coming in. Nominal for $5. Do you find it weird that NASA took a photograph of the entire Earth in 1972, and then 30 years later we got the Blue Marble 2.0, which is admitted CGI?
Yeah, I find that very weird that they claim that they took a picture of the Earth in entirety in 1972, and then you had to wait over 3 decades to 2002 to get the Blue Marble, and it's not a full picture of the Earth. It's admittedly not real. 30 years, bro. 30 years. And you gave me CGI after you claim you took the real picture in 72. The highly suspect Apollo missions where you claim you went to the moon. I'll be honest, this is what I think. If we really could go to the moon and all this was real, we'd have a camera on the moon. We'd have a 24-hour live stream just watching the Earth sitting there turning. It'd be the most viewed channel ever to touch YouTube. So we obviously aren't going to space, and that's why we still don't get real pictures. But yeah, obviously a suspect that 3 decades later, they can't give the same quality picture they got us in the 70s, but probably a coincidence.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Austin, for staying and answering all those questions in the super chats there. They're all done. I'm not going to take any more, so if you're typing one in right now, stop. We're gonna cut her off now because we kept Austin way over time, and he's been a scholar and a gentleman for hanging out. So thank you so much, Witsit Gets It, for being here. Always appreciate hanging out with you and having these conversations. I hope you feel the same, buddy.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I said Tim Pryor, no more. All right. Anybody can go to Antarctica. Stop lying. 24-hour sun. Prove me wrong or be quiet. All right. Well, I think we've discussed all.
He admitted to me he'd never been to Antarctica and saw a 24-hour sun. So,
all right. So
it's weird.
Yeah. And no, I was gonna say I think we did cover a lot of those points there, Tim Pryor. So thank you so much for the $10 there. Do we still exist? What if Tim Pryor powered off? For $2, question the answers there. I'm gonna maybe I'll have to come back here and talk to you fellas here a little bit about what I mean when
I get the joke too, because like he was like, when I power off, flat Earth won't exist. He's like, do we still exist? You know. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for kicking it with me, bro. You've been chill.
Yeah, this has been fun. All right, well, we'll see you next time, man, and we'll see you all in a little bit here. I guess I'll get the old music going here and have a little fun and play us off. Thanks again, Austin.
Wait, let me say one more thing.
Yeah.
We're having a really dope summit in a couple weeks. I mentioned earlier, but just go to trueearther.com. You can check it out, but it's going to be dope. Like regardless of what you think about the Earth, it's really dope stuff that's like pretty empowering. So you guys should check it out, trueearther.com. And you can check out my channel, witsitgetsit.com. And if you want to save 50%, Witsit50. I hate feeling like promo-y. I'm sorry, bro. But anyway, thanks for having me on. It's been cool, brother. Much love.
Oh yeah, I don't mind at all. I took all your time there, so yeah, right back at you. So we'll see you next time, and thanks again, buddy.
Peace, brother.
Peace out. No copyright music. All right, thanks everybody for coming out. I'm going to get an actual recording of that properly done, but I've had fun just riffing off here a little bit for you. You guys all have a great night. Thanks for coming out.